The surgery was a success. He's going to be my most beautiful patient to date. Just keep an eye on him. I'm gonna get a drink and I'll be right back.
Rejuvenation and rejuvenation. Doctor, rejuvenation.
What did you do? He's dead. Oh my God. I don't have a heartbeat. Oh my God. What did you do? What did you do? You killed my subject.
I'm alive.
Yay! I saved you.
You saved me. Thank you. I owe you a blowjob.
I'll take you up on that one.
A bro job.
Right? It's not a blowjob. It's a bro job. Once I get all these nip and tucks done, now that we're finally monetized, I can afford all the surgeries I've always wanted.
Oh my God, yes.
Have you always wanted plastic surgery?
No.
No.
I do Botox, but honestly, I've never been to the hospital for a broken bone. I've never been put under for anything. When they pulled out my wisdom teeth, I stayed awake.
What?
And they numbed me, and they took a hammer with a chisel, and they broke them up and sucked them out of the vacuum.
No, my God.
Yeah, because I
Horrible.
refuse to have them put me under, because isn't there like a 1 in like 1,000 chance you could die or something or like just not wake up? I think it's
Anesthesia.
It's
Sometimes
fine.
people have an
Really?
issue waking up.
It's like, I feel like it's
rare.
hereditary, right?
And plus,
It's
I don't
like-
want to wake up saying some outrageous shit
You
like,
will.
I killed someone in 1993.
That always happens when you wake up from anesthesia.
Yeah.
I've taken care of so many friends, and they wake up saying like the weirdest, most sexual, strange things to the
wild.
nurses, the attendants,
Yes.
to everybody. Yeah, it's very strange.
Yes,
They don't know what they're saying. They won't remember.
For
it.
sure. I'll either fight them or ask for a sandwich.
Oh.
That's
My
funny.
one friend was
Fuck all of
always
you.
so sexual with like
Really?
the nurses, and he'd be like talking to them like he wanted to rape them, and I was like, "Did you forget that you're gay?"
Wow.
Like, and he's
my
like
God.
hitting on the female nurses.
Anesthesia
Interesting.
cures the gay out of
That's
people.
wild. Damn.
Wow.
But
that's-
Botox is the gateway, right? That's just
I
the
don't. I
beginning.
started
to,
when I
like,
was 25. I mean, I think that
Me
that
too.
time
That's
has
when I
come and
started my
gone.
Botox.
I was like, oof. So I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But you look up,
But thanks. I
Wait,
try.
and before 25, you never got any surgery done or no?
Of course,
Well,
I had
let's
surgery.
Before we get deep dive into it, this is Justin Jedlica.
Yes.
Did I say it correctly?
Justin Jedlica. Yeah, you
Perfect.
said it.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
the human, the OG human Kendall.
The original, the one and only.
Yes.
There's tried to be some new ones.
I am the
that come
pioneer of the
on.
modifiable male aesthetic.
Yes,
Oh, I love
yes.
that.
That's
That's
what
a
I
great
say.
tagline.
I
Thank you.
know.
It should be on your. You have your own website.
Of course I do. It's
perfect.
justinjedlica.com.
Love that.
Period.
Awesome. I feel like there's so much we could talk about. So I've known you for a long time now. Obviously, just like running with the same crowds, but we've never actually had a one-on-one conversation because it's always loud at the environment.
Tons of people.
Or
Yeah.
it's 4:00 in the morning and we're all just on another planet. But yeah, so it's great to actually sit down and get to know you. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Yes,
It's
thank
great.
you so
Appreciate it.
much.
So yeah, I mean, our followers, I'm sure would love to know a little bit about you. And I like to start with the question of, I'm sure you've done plenty of podcasts. I'm sure you've done plenty of interviews, TV shows. Is there something that you've always wanted to have someone ask you, but hasn't been asked?
Oh, Lord.
Because I know that I'll leave a podcast or I'll leave and I'm like, dang it, I wish they would have asked me, you know, how I became a bartender or how I did something. And like, you don't have to answer it now, but at some point throughout if
I've
it
had
comes
like
to mind.
15 plus years of television, so there's been so many interviews.
Yeah.
I mean, so everything from like 2020 to Bethany
Yeah.
Frankel to Oprah, I've done so much. So I feel like
But
at
they've-
some point they've
asked it
hit
all? Okay.
about everything.
That's
Yeah,
good.
for
Okay. 'Cause
sure.
you never know. I feel like sometimes even if it's like grotesque,
It doesn't
like,
mean
why
it
didn't they
always
ask
gets
me
printed.
what my toes look like? Why didn't they, or like, why didn't they ask me, you know what I mean? Something. And I live for that. Cause we kind of stunned, we had Gracie Jane on here a couple episodes ago and like, she's done podcasts for postdocs. And it's
Yeah.
funny. I asked her that question. She's like, I love that you asked that
Well,
because you know what? No one's ever asked me. And like,
I guess maybe one of the things like people can't really usually air, let's say like in the media, is like when you're talking about like phalloplasty, like
yes,
penis
yes, yes.
augmentation and stuff like that,
Fierce.
because we can't really talk about that on mainstream television.
oh, we can talk about that all day
Yeah,
long
I,
here.
I actually need to know. I'm taking notes as we go.
You can send me some referrals. I'll walk them through the experience.
Love that.
Wow,
Love
no,
that.
for myself. Girl, we're working with a nub here.
No, we're not. It's
trying to make more
7.5
money.
inches. Shayan.
She wants to be 9.5.
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to make more money on OF.
What do you mean? It's 7.5. Don't listen to her.
Gotta get the views up. You
They'll
know?
just take you in for the injections. You know, that's pretty easy.
My friend Bianca does her own injections. Yeah, it's
That's
wild.
scary.
Yeah, it's wild. But
Yeah.
her dick kind of looks like a blimp. No shade. Yeah, it's kind of wild. But yeah.
Well, let's talk about it since you said that you haven't been able to talk about it. What are the whole process of it? You know, take us.
I mean,
walk us through
I
it.
just started dabbling a long time ago with like, I had a doctor that did silicone injections on me. So I did like small sessions of that, like 6 to 8 cc's a session.
Wow.
And it was funny because at the time I was partnered and I never used to tell my partner that I was doing it.
Oh, wow.
And he never would notice, oddly enough. But and then eventually at one point, I think after I had my 4 sessions, he was kind of like, "Why doesn't this fit in my mouth anymore?" And he was
my
like, "What happened?
gosh.
Did it get? When did it get this big?"
That's so
and I was like,
funny.
I guess he never looked at the credit card, because he would have totally seen the charges from the
I
doctor.
love that.
But
Wow.
but now actually, like, yeah, I'm having this company, MetaMolds, approached me and they said, "Oh, we want to make like a 3D scan of your phallus."
Love
And
that. So sick.
there'll be like a Ken doll cock for
Cute.
people to purchase.
Well, you know what? I mean, if you
It's
want,
kind of off-brand, but I was like,
No, I love
they
that.
were like,
That's
well, people would be
great.
interested because like you've exposed all your other body mods,
Yeah.
right? Because I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
of what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
interested in as body modification, not necessarily just plastic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the media, they always sell me as like a plastic surgery junkie.
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, it stems more from like the ability and the interest to do something that hadn't been done before, right? Like I was the first person in the world to have 6-piece shoulder implants, 4-piece back implants, 8-piece leg implants. So it was always like, well, why do girls have all the abilities to modify and change and
Right.
gain confidence, self-esteem,
Right,
be able to
right,
customize
right.
themselves? And it seemed like men didn't have the ability to even have that option, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it was cool for me to be like, well, let's think outside of the box, use what's already kind of like approved, and then we
Yeah.
can do custom implants and things like that.
I love that.
So I think that's
And-
where people became kind of infatuated or fixated because they were like, wait, like you design your own body implants?
Yeah, and you worded it like you hit the nail on the head when you said it was an oddity because like it was great. We had a conversation yesterday, and he's like, you know, other people are this. I see myself as an oddity, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't even think about that because
Yeah.
Shayan and I were
Sure.
talking about oddities, especially with Dragula and who we have coming on as well. It's the same thing. So I'm like, oh, that's
Well,
great. I
even
love it.
when the MetaMolds company came to me and asked me if I wanted to be like their feature debut model for the scanning process and all of that, so I was kind of like, well, I consider myself like not a sex symbol, like a
Yeah.
curiosity. Like I don't necessarily do porn. So in a way, I was like, well, am I maybe going to alienate some of your fan base or people who are of
No,
interest,
probably
like you're
not
doing
at all.
something lewd? But for me, it was true. Like I don't mind talking about body mods. Like I'm proud of
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
So I mean, I don't really think that it'd be bad to have
Right.
something like that accessible. I
Right.
mean, what
Cute.
people decide to do with it is on
Yeah.
their
And you
own.
turn it into an art form. You turn it as a way of expression too, and expressing yourself and creativity and designing your own molds and
That's what
designing
I
your
always
own
thought of it
yeah.
as too. And I just remember when I was a kid, I was always like infatuated with people like Joan Rivers,
Yes.
Dolly Parton, Michael Jackson. I mean, I was born in 1980, so I'm 44 years old. So I just remember like those people as being iconic in my life as a kid. And I was always into like sketching, sculpting, painting, but it was always like the over stylized human form.
Love that.
And so with those people being iconic to me, that I was brought up in like a lower income household. Like nobody had plastic surgery. Had
Right.
It was a luxury item.
Yeah,
For
for
sure.
And so part of I think what I aspired to be like, oh, one day like it would be so cool if like I could be wealthy, like if I could have those things. Because I looked at plastic surgery as being like symbolic of wealth.
Of course.
Just like
Yeah.
you'd see like some fierce
car,
bitch walking around
Right.
in her Louboutins or
Right.
driving around in a Ferrari. Equally so when I saw some lady who was like snatched on the street corner, I was like, oh, that
Yes.
bitch has money.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes.
And so I was kind of like, well, maybe if I emulate that, maybe if I even have surgery, which I was already interested in because of the artistry of it, like
Yeah.
maybe I'll be able to kind of like schmooze my way into the 1% of the 1% and encompass myself in it because, you know, fake it until you make it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it encompassed a lot of things. Like it was the lifestyle I wanted, I hoped I
Yes.
could have and
Yes.
attract in a partner and all of that. But also it was the artistry of it as well.
I love
So
that.
it
Love
served
it.
like multiple purposes for me. I think growing up in my confidence. Maybe now
Yes.
as I got older, I don't believe all of those things came to fruition in that exact way or because of the surgery.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I was in my teens, that was definitely like a forethought of mine
Yeah.
for sure.
For sure.
Nice.
So, you know, if you want to be it, like you have to project it and you live it like it's already happened. And you
100%.
carry yourself like that.
Right.
And then, you know, I believe the universe brings those opportunities to
Absolutely.
be able to fully
sure.
envelop your life with that.
Of course.
Absolutely.
So I looked at it like a
100%.
tool. And
Yeah.
so like I have like a consultancy, right, with the website. And so that's sort of like my whole take on it is sort of that, you know, plastic surgery is not for everybody. But if it can serve a purpose in like you moving you into the next chapter of your life. Like a lot of the people I see are going through like, you know, big time divorces, breakups, or they've
Midlife
just had all their
crisis.
children. They have huge life changes
Right.
and they're looking to kind of either regain youth or like just instill some new sense of something where they want to show off and floss. And and I think that for that purpose, it can be something good to like send someone to this next chapter of their life with like a positivity.
Yeah, and I feel like the implants could also be beneficial for people who like, let's say, need it if they went through, you know, something tragic.
For
or
sure,
something,
like I've worked on some people who had like where they're born without like a pec muscle on one side, so people may have seen I'm botched. I've done that now twice for 2 different clients there, and so I'm just designing one implant to give the illusion that it matches their natural side.
Oh, that's awesome.
Also, like I've worked with a couple now, female to male trans, where like they're looking to masculinize in essence, and so like we're doing like pectoral implants, bicep implants, calf implants on them, which was never really something I thought would come about. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I was like, oh, how cool! Like a totally new group of people that I didn't think would be interested in that.
Yeah, and you're changing their lives. I mean, you're giving them the confidence that they've always needed.
For sure.
Yeah,
totally, to help them feel better in their skin. Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
So shout out the company again, just so we could throw it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, well, you'll be able to find it on MetaMolds on their website.
Ooh. Perfect, love that.
So I mean, I'm interested to see how it's coming out because like we just finished that scan and then they've been putting it in the computer. So we're working on this morning.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh my God.
So because we have like we're showcasing it this week on Thursday. I fly to Arizona for like a naughty Santa party that they hired me for like a meet and greet, and it's owned by this adult bookshop called The Adult Shop, and it's like a small little franchise. They have 3 different businesses there, and they're hosting like a circuit party there as well.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, well, can I have my own dildo out? And they were like, sure, why not?
Whoa.
So that should be interesting.
That's
I'll get people's
hot.
reactions for sure.
That'd be great.
That is hot for sure.
Cool.
Don't you want one so you can give that to your own?
Yes, no, for sure.
So
That's so
fierce.
smart. I've always asked Trade to be like, I'd always be like, hey, make a mold of your dick, send it to me. Like, I don't know. I think that's hot.
For sure. People were like, are you going to use it on yourself? I was like, I hadn't thought of that.
That's wild.
That would make a pretty penny.
Interesting.
But wouldn't it, right?
That would sell really fiercely.
So I'm assuming the difference is just that's a 3D scan, correct? Or is it just same as like if you buy like the mold off of Amazon? I'm
No,
assuming that's
they
way
did
different.
this with a 3D scan.
Okay, so it's a
initially
lot more accurate.
Initially, we tried it on like an app that they sent over, and I didn't have any luck with that. With the scan with a friend, we tried to do it, but it just kept cutting off part of my phallus. And so then they eventually flew in and they did the scans in person. So that was a lot, and it was a lot like cleaner of a machine with a lot more images. And so it finally came out, but it took some tries.
That's wild.
But you don't have to like in the old days, you used to always have to like remain erect for like,
the
10 or
mold.
15 minutes and then be able to have that mold set. So this is supposed to be a better way of doing it. So get more detail.
Wow, I'm so into 3D like printing and stuff. It's something that I've like recently dived
Why can't they do
into.
that with implants? I feel like
do they not do it with implants?
I've always done mine by hand. So like what I do is like on a tape template. So
Speaking of, real quick, let's bring one out. You had it.
I brought a bunch to show you guys.
Oh, I can't wait.
You want me to grab it?
If you want, Jay can grab it wherever it's at.
The whole Louis Vuitton bag. It's heavy. I brought several samples. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. And you
I call this
sculpted
my
all
body
of this?
bag.
You're a sculptor. Look at you.
It is sculpting at its core, right? You have to be good at like depth perception and
Yeah, I don't think people understand the artistry that goes into this. That's
so these are
amazing.
some of the customs that I've made. So now they basically make us when I make my schematic I chart it out on someone's, let's say their chest, right?
Okay.
And then I'd graph it out first. And then what I'll do is do like a clear surgical tape template. And then I peel it off and use that on a piece of paper and then draw out like the profile views and the aerial views. And then we send it to the implant company and they send us this piece now is like a resin as the sample template, right?
wow.
Okay.
And then you can like amend it and change it if you wanted to. But then when they make the pieces, right, you're talking about like, this was one I used for my latissimus that was used under here, right? Under my arm.
Shit.
So that one, I'll give you that. This was a quadricep that I did for a client. So the vastus lateralis femoralis for the leg.
I love.
Yeah,
you
it
become
goes
like
here.
your own. This is
Yeah.
heavy.
Heavy. I told you they're heavy. They're really heavy.
It's wild.
So you walk around with these just in you.
These are like, right? That's my workout. That's why I don't have to go to the gym. We did
think
the
I have
tally
back
one day, and
problems.
I have like 22 pounds of implants in my body.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
And wait, what is this?
God.
That is like for a tricep.
Okay.
This is like a calf, let's say.
Now, are
there's
there
another tricep.
phallus-
Yeah, so they'd go back here.
Are there phallus implants?
I love this.
They have them.
Okay.
I've never made one.
Okay,
But
okay.
that you have to go to like a urology person
Okay.
for sure. But they do make silicone phallus implants that are like a sheath that goes
Right.
under the skin. It doesn't connect all the way
shit.
under, so the urethra is like left open.
Okay.
And then they tack it into the gland, into the head, to hold it there so that it can slide out and in. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not the biggest advocate for them.
Okay,
I've seen some people who've had to have a lot of surgeries to try
Yeah.
to remedy when it comes dislodged and things like that.
You prefer filler
This is
method
so
for
cool.
it, right?
I mean,
love it.
filler is easier.
Okay.
You don't have the surgery. I feel like
Right,
the only thing is
right.
like sometimes fat doesn't sit so well. But
Okay.
you can do HA filler. You could do silicone. Like there's different companies using different types of fillers.
I love
So
it.
this was like a teres minor major implant for like the back. This is the ones I have like
I
in my
love
back
this.
here.
Oh, wow.
And I think there's,
Oh my God, I
there's
love
one in here that's
it.
not mine, but this is another option.
What is that?
This is actually, believe it or not, in the UK, they use a lot of these. These are cohesive silicone gel-filled muscle implants, right? So I prefer the ones like this
Right.
that are more rigid because I feel like they mimic muscle more,
Right,
right?
right, right.
They're
That's
like,
what I
they're
have.
more hard. But this, everyone thinks this is a phallus
This is
implant, but it's
technically-
not. It's a calf. It's just cohesive.
Like a gummy bear implant, right? A textured implant.
Kind of like,
Right.
yes.
Right,
It's
right,
like,
right.
like it's definitely more firm. But this one, I just don't like because when you grab people's arms who have
Oh,
these
to,
in
like,
their calves,
squeeze,
it
squish.
feels more like breast tissue.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
more
yeah.
soft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
this
more
is
like-
crazy, right? This was like
Yeah, this is-
one of my
love it.
revision pieces. I did like a million things on.
It.
This is great.
So yeah, but that's just like my life
Cute.
and my passion.
Oh my God.
So circling back to your phallus, it works properly 100%.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's just heavier now.
Okay.
So I feel like the angle is not as much, and also like I've done like. They have the surgery where they actually like disconnect portions of the ligament,
Right.
to allow like the penis to
to hang
extend
more?
out.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it was initially just made for people who have like micro penis syndrome, but now they do it for everybody if you want. But the
Okay.
thing is, a lot of times you have diminished angle because you're releasing that ligament. So it was really only meant to help you show more when you're in a flaccid
Yeah,
state.
shower
but
versus
unfortunately,
grower.
sometimes the angle doesn't go up as much if you've had that cut. So in my brain, I was like, well, why can't I do like a stretching?
Yeah.
So I actually have a stretcher that like I put a silicone sheath over my penis with, and then there's like a tie around it with like
And
a
you're just
clip,
like-
and then I've like rigged up. It's like a choker that goes around the top of my knee with like a bungee stretch cord, and I clip it to my knee but where I'm tying it is way by the ligament to try to cause micro tears to extend the ligament out.
Whoa.
I mean, it takes forever, but I feel like I've seen a difference with length. But I've
Yeah.
been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do like the hydro pumps too and whatnot.
I
but
use the palms sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's temporary.
You're
I feel
on top
like.
of it because I'm supposed to be wearing a waist trainer to obviously like, snatch my waist, and I am so lazy to put that thing on.
You know,
to
if you
break
take your
these
ribs
bones.
out, they say you really have to.
She's
do
been
that.
That's what I've been wanting to do.
get her ribs
Yeah,
out for
I'll
a
talk to you
while.
about all the surgeries that I have.
The lower like
planned.
2 or 3.
The 3.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know. I have
Dr.
one of my-
Dorner in Ohio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one of my
Yes.
guys does it too. Yeah. Yeah, he takes it the
Really?
lower 3 and 3. Yeah, Dr. Epley, Barry Epley. He does
Yes,
some
yes, yes,
cool
yes, yes.
stuff.
He did
even
Pixie
does like
Fox, right?
Oh yeah, he did
Yes,
Pixie. Pixie. Oh my god, I
yes,
love Pixie.
yes.
So my girlfriend for so long. We
Oh
still
my
stay
God,
in
that's
touch with each
awesome.
other.
How's she doing?
She's better. She's
Good,
good.
she's
Yeah,
good.
she's
Yeah.
good. She
Yeah,
wants to
yeah.
come back into doing media and stuff, but
Yeah.
she's kind of stuck over in Sweden
Oh my
right now,
God,
still with her
okay.
family.
Oh
So,
my God, I love her.
but
She's
I
an
totally
icon.
miss her.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
she's
used to
an
do a lot
icon.
of press together.
Yeah. Are you friends with Jessica Alves?
Yeah, we were totally
When
friends.
you
She's coming into town actually this week. We're supposed to
Okay.
get together.
Oh
so
my God.
Jessica Alves was Rodrigo Alves
Yeah.
years
Okay.
ago. And then transitioned. And
Right.
so he was kind of like a friend, but also a competing Ken doll.
Yes.
Ah.
So, I mean, we were always friends.
Yeah,
Even,
yeah,
like
yeah,
way
yeah.
back when, I mean, I started doing press before him, but then he started doing a lot.
Right.
And so we were always bumping into each other. So
Right.
in a way, like you're frenemies. No, I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
friends,
yeah.
but you're competing for the same,
Yeah.
media
Title.
bits.
Right.
So there's no competing for the title. He's never designed implants. But now I don't have to worry about it because now she's
she
Jessica.
transitioned to she. She came out and she was like, I originally wanted to be Ken, but now I want to be Bobby. And I was
do a
like,
good impersonation.
"Hey,
That's
let's
funny.
go, Bobby.
No, but I love her, and
I
she
love her.
seems
She's
so
iconic.
much more confident in her skin
I
now.
love that.
I have to say, because I know she got a lot of ridicule for transitioning her reasons and all of this.
Oh, okay.
Oh, for sure. People are like,
Yeah.
well, did you just like run out of like a story because you've done it so much and you're
Really?
doing this for press? But to
Yeah.
be honest, like I've known her through all of that, and
Yeah.
she's so much better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really
love
like
that.
great and like loving life and like
Yeah.
loving her new form, and
Yeah.
it's great to see her that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Good for her. I love it. Woo.
So speaking of being happy, are you you happy now?
Oh,
You have a lot of
I like
energy.
to say I live in a
Yeah, I'll
state,
help you.
a consistent state of being happier.
Okay.
I don't know if I believe you're ever happy.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, there you always want better for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
I think.
For sure.
Yeah,
But things
yeah.
are decent.
Yeah. I mean,
Things are
Buddhism
good.
says, life is suffering. You just have to make the most of it. That's very true. I mean, it's a hard way to like look at it, but that's life. You know what I
you
mean?
just push
Always
forward and
growing.
Things are good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
So I'm
have
sure you
any
get this
qualms.
question all the time. How many surgeries have you had? Have you lost
So
count?
we kind of lost count. But to
Yeah.
be honest, we go to the tune of over 1,000 cosmetic procedures because it became very hard to say what's a surgery and what's not.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
Every time a
sometimes-
needle goes in, it's like that
Because
could be
every time I've
something.
even gone under the knife hasn't always been with anesthesia. So then do you say, is it the scalpel that makes it a surgery? Because in that case, I've gone under the scalpel without the anesthesia. Like you said, you had your teeth, right? Like there were sometimes I had so many revisions on my shoulder implants that it was, I think maybe it was the 5th or 6th surgery on them. And I was just like, I'm not paying for this. I am not paying that money for the anesthesia. Like
Yeah.
it was in office. And I was like, you're just going to do it with like local.
Twilight, yeah.
And no, not Twilight, just local.
Yeah.
I was awake the whole
Oh,
time.
shit.
Twilight, you're still basically,
Still
you feel like you're
kinda?
asleep. But they just put local in, and he was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm like, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
At
And
this
so
point,
I had to have
yeah.
my arm up, but they had to cut all this, and you feel like the tugging and the pulling, and you smell like the burning flesh, and they're trying to like reposition the implant inside you and suture you back up. It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When we went to do my mom's facelift, she was being very like nickel and dimey with the doctor, and they're like, well, we can take off $1,500 for the anesthesia if you want to do it under local. And I was like, you won't do her facelift under local, like full, like
Yes.
everything. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Deep plane, mid face, they're talking about eyelids,
Whoa.
like neck, and I was like, Mom, pay the $1,500. Like,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to be
yeah,
awake
yeah.
to have someone dissect your
On your
face. That
face.
sounds horrible.
God, that's
Horrible.
so
I
wild.
couldn't
They put a
imagine.
mirror up, you know?
Body is maybe one thing I
Yeah.
feel like, but face.
My third lip lift, I did it awake.
Yeah.
And I felt the tugging, I smelled the burning
Yeah.
and everything. And my mom was literally in the room like, oh my God, and like freaked out and left. And I was just like, let's go.
what body part have you revised the most?
Ooh, probably my lip lift.
3.
Yeah, 3.
I've had 5 nose jobs.
Oh, wow.
5
I
nose
know.
jobs.
Yeah,
Whoa.
5.
Do you like this one? It
It's
looks
as good as it's gonna get. You know, after that, I see people like when you get to like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you know, I have friends who are there. A lot of times, like the skin just doesn't heal the same. They can change all they want under that 10, and you keep having the scar tissue that builds
Yeah.
up and keep opening up. A lot of times, just that tissue looks corrugated and messy.
Yeah.
And I think you have the likelihood of causing more trauma and more of an aesthetic problem than you
Yeah.
have of fixing maybe the little bit that you want to change.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
at a certain point, I kind of feel like you're better off to leave it alone
Yeah.
and try to come to terms and accept that there's going to be some level of, you know, things that you don't love. It's not 100%,
Right.
but hopefully it's, you know, somewhere in the high 80s to
Right.
90%, and then move on to the next
And
project.
allow the body, because I feel like nose, they say it takes a year to fully heal, but
Sure.
I think it's like 3 years to fully
Oh, on
heal.
revisions? For
Yeah,
sure.
for
You
sure.
have to double that time, I think.
Yeah,
For
for
sure.
sure.
Because people are like, oh, I just want like a little bit here. I'm like, just know what you're putting yourself
Yeah.
in for. Like, it's a lot of
course.
recovery time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're just talking about like refining work in the nose.
And the tip usually is the last thing.
the
to
last
fix.
thing that you're gonna see the little bit of definition in.
sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But you have to like set people's expectations. Like I had a client, a girl that came with her mom to me back when I lived in Chicago, and she came and she was just telling me all these things. She wanted me to give her referrals to doctors, and her mother was sitting with her just looking at me, and this girl's going on about all these things that I couldn't see. Like
Yeah.
they weren't there in the way
Yeah,
that
yeah,
she was
yeah.
defining it to
Yeah.
me. And I was like, I can't refer you to anyone that will actually work on you
Exactly.
because I can't see the issues you're pointing out. And if I can't see it, being the extremist that I am, nobody else is going to work
Yeah.
on you.
So
So
even though it's like you are your own worst critic, but at some
sure.
point,
for
you
sure,
know what I mean?
right?
Your
We
friends
our
know
bodies
you
and our
better,
faces, but not
than
everyone
you.
is micro analyzing like we do
Right,
for
of
ourselves.
course.
That's why people will say all the time on talk shows, like, "Oh, you have body dysmorphia," which is like it so pisses me off because they just can't imagine that you enjoy looking over stylized.
Yeah.
Like that must have been an accident. And I was like, it is very much
Yeah.
not an accident. Like I
Yeah.
like looking like distinguishable and different.
Yeah.
Like I think as a kid too, I felt like very teased, and I always felt like I was kind of an outcast.
Yeah.
And it's so different as I got older, and you know, you try to mesh and blend in, and I try
then
to
at
dress
some
a
point you
little
just
different.
own it. You're like,
and then at a
"Fuck
certain
this."
point, I was like, well, if I'm already like, if everyone's always gonna say like, you're awkward, like, where did you
Yeah.
learn how to talk like that? You know,
Yeah.
like gay, I guess. You know. So I don't know. I kind of found strength in being like,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? I wasn't even. It's not that I was born this way. I made myself that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I found power. I think
Yeah.
in that for sure. I found like it was like I regained control
You're
where
Shayan
everybody else
all always talk about
like,
that,
why do
actually.
you look like that? Or, why do you like to do this? And it was like, I find solace in the fact that like, I've made myself this way intentionally, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, and I like being a little bit of like an upstart and a rebel.
For sure.
For sure.
I love that. And now you're an icon and a pioneer. Look at you.
Who wants to fit in? It's so boring to go with the
For
grain.
sure. For sure. 100%.
You know what? No one remembers people who aren't different. Like, I don't know. I think you have to embrace your difference and like shove it in people's face 100 times harder. You know?
100%.
Do you ever get tired of talking about your surgeries? Like, because I know you go, I know that's like a thing, but do you ever? Because it seems like you're real. I love this. You can talk. It seems like you could talk for days. But at some point, I wonder if it's like I don't want to ask you something where you're just like when you said that people ask about body dysmorphia, and you're like, ugh, next.
Yeah,
you know? But I wonder, it's like after a while, do you get tired of it, or is it just you?
It's hard on
like I love talking about money and business. I could sit and talk money and business.
Everybody likes to talk about money.
Sometimes, I mean, some people think that it's like gross. It's uncouth.
It's a little sometimes, depending the social group you're in.
Exactly. So a lot of times if they talk outside of that realm, I'll shut down because I'm like, oh, this isn't business oriented. This is about the latest pop star, and I know nothing of pop stars or celebrities whatsoever. So Shayan can talk all day when you have a guest here, and I'll just be like, I can almost be playing fucking Tetris, but like this conversation is very enthralling. But I always wonder, I'm like,
I just don't like it, I guess, or it becomes kind of weird, like if you're actually like on a date with somebody, or you feel like there's someone of interest,
definitely,
and then it's like, well, do they like me because of the TV thing and because I'm like an oddity, a curiosity, or are they actually interested in getting to know me, but also that's part of me. So it becomes strange, but like I don't want someone to like me for my surgery necessarily. I don't want them to dislike me because of it either. I don't know. It's a catch-22.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of parallels because as a trans woman, it's like the same thing. It's like I don't want you to I obviously want you to like me, but I don't want you to fetishize me.
But I want you to be attracted to me.
I
want all of it. Don't objectify me. But tell me I'm pretty. No, it's true. There's a level that's acceptable, and then there's a level that's kind of beyond.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel that. Yes.
Wow, you've created the life you wanted, honey. You're living in the Ken doll
dream house.
Yes, I love it.
So speaking of boys, what does your love life look like?
Oh God, it's non-existent right now.
Okay.
Not really. I don't know. I was married, went through a divorce, and that was tumultuous. And then I ended up in a throuple for like 6 years with a couple in Australia. And then COVID kind of forced us to just fall apart because I couldn't get over to Melbourne anymore. And we're trying to keep it alive on
Zoom and
FaceTime. And, some other 12-year-old swooped in and took the guy that we both shared and took him from both of us.
Damn.
So that was kind of a mess.
That's wild.
And it's like, but who are you going to be angry at? Like, I mean, I was mad at him for not really disclosing it to me as it was happening. But like, can you really fault somebody else for finding attention and love somewhere else when you're not available? But it wasn't my choice to not be available. It was because of COVID. So they were their lockdown was so intense. There was no way I could get in. We applied.
Right.
Yeah.
So after that, I don't know. I've just been kind of fixated on like, I love real estate. I got my real estate license a while ago.
Love that.
I love doing like Airbnb, reno, remodel stuff. I'd love to do an HGTV show. I would love
What about a cooking show?
I don't know that I eat more so than anything. I make ice. I don't know. I
love that.
I love like anything design. I guess I love designing body parts. I love designing houses and reimagining flow and overseeing reno. I love that.
Yeah. So you saw it, my house, just got done.
I saw your house. It's great.
I'm in talks with a few people to do my own like kind of a reality where I was going to buy a house in Pacoima or something for like a couple $100,000. And then I wanted the viewers to pretty much help design every aspect of it. It's literally like, should we do this color? Should we do that color? Should we do wood? Should we do tile? And at the end, I wanted to give it away as like an auction, a giveaway. I think it'd be kind of fun. I mean, we could maybe partner on something like that. But yeah, we're talking to a few people that just do reality shit. So I think it'd be kind of fun.
That would be amazing.
You might get a house, but it'd be fun.
You'll end up with like some baby blue house on the outside.
You never know. It could be
out with a little Smurfette house.
It'd be kind of fun. You know what I mean?
It's like Beast house reno.
Yeah, seriously. But no, I love that.
I love it.
You did a lot of your reno on your own?
I designed everything from the ground up, but so I mean, this is my 10th one that we've done. So it's a lot of work, though. I'll be honest. I'm getting to my wits' end on some of it because dealing with the city is just a pain in the ass. But
I know. No fun. No fun. Geez, you can design your own implants now.
I know. I love that.
You're like, I'll teach you. You teach me some more home reno, and I'll teach you some implant reno.
So non-existent with boys. When you do meet someone, do you find that they want to see what your phallus looks like right off the bat.
I mean, I didn't do it so it didn't get seen, right? So
Okay, true.
I
Well, I will
dislike
say
that
when I do
attention.
type in your name to find the pictures, they're not easy to find. They don't,
Yeah, they
I,
were.
I almost expected them to pop up real quick, and I was like, okay. We did a little bit of digging with the LPSG, which obviously no one can get off of the LPSG.
Digging. Oh my God.
Just why I said I had to research you. We had to research you, so I was like, let's find it all that we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there were some things that leaked out, and then I've like nipped it in the butt over the years. But then now I have an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Love that.
But
Make sure to subscribe.
Yeah, seriously.
I do. Well, I was like, oh, it was kind of fun to like show off, and
Yeah.
I always get requests for it anyway in my DMs.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, why not make the best of it, and be able to still talk to fans and make some money.
I love
sell
that.
some of my
I
pictures,
love
but
that.
yes, I mean, I don't mind. Like, I know when I walk around, it's getting kind of difficult to like hide my penis, right? So, but I get off on the bigism of it. It does make it a little more difficult when you're like being intimate with somebody. Yeah, because it's really hard to get good head nowadays.
That's funny.
So hard to find someone that's that ambitious or can like unhinge their jaw. But
Yeah.
I did
Well,
because I'm like 8.5 around now, so there's a lot of thickness.
yeah, it's funny. So
I love
we
that.
have a friend. I have a friend that he got priapism from taking some kind of a sleeping medication.
No way.
It was like a sleeping medication that's like the small percentage will happen, and he has already a massive thing. Like,
Wow.
It's already. I'll show
Can I
you a
get his
picture.
number?
And well, the crazy part is he goes into the hospital and he's like, he didn't know what to do, and the doctors had to take him like almost through the back door because it's like there's children in here.
It's so
and it's
painful.
like,
I gave myself priapism
oh
with
my
Trimix.
God. Yes.
like literally
that
3
shot.
weeks ago.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Oh my God, it was so painful. Well, I didn't realize I had a friend over, and like the night before we had hung out, and we were tipsy, and I just didn't even think that I had used the Trimix, and it was probably like 1 in the morning, and then the next morning I saw it out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna use it again. Whatever, we're gonna hang out. So I used it again. I think it was just too close in time. They don't recommend using more than like twice in a week.
So for anyone asking,
And
Trimix is
so-
a shot that you literally put into your penis and it gets hard almost
It's like
immediately.
liquid vasodilation, right? So it's like a Viagra, but it's in like a shot. So I had it from my urologist and everything, but I've just never had that happen. I don't even normally use it. I had actually only gotten it because of the metamolds people. And I was like, oh, we're going to be doing the scan, so this should help make it easier. So I refilled the script. And then I had it there and I was like, I'll use it. But so painful. It felt like there was like a searing pan inside my penis, like
Yeah.
burning.
Oh my God.
Burning. And
So
it
he
is-
told me he had 10 vials of blood removed.
Oh, because he
wouldn't-
had it. They shouldn't do that. It's
absolutely
not
wouldn't
induced
go
from the
down.
Trimix.
Nope.
Okay,
So
they have
he
to
had
drain
to
it.
drain it.
Oh, they had just given me the anti-shot. I didn't have a shot
Almost
for it.
wring it out, and then he had to go back 5 weeks later to do it again.
No
It wasn't
way.
going down.
They
It
couldn't
was
like
just-
milk it out.
They had to do it a second time, and he's like, so, and this just happened. So he's at week like 8 now, and he's like, he's barely able to kind of use it, and he's like, never again.
Yeah,
And I was
mine
like,
wasn't like that because they just
He
put
was
like the
pissed at
anti-trimix shot in it, and then
It
it goes
dissolves it.
away.
Yeah.
It causes a chemical reaction to like nullify it. But like walking into cedar cyanide, you're like, ooh. I was literally like walking like this so people couldn't see because you're at full mass,
Damn.
And I'm having to drive in the car, and of course my friend had come with me, and he's just like, no, we just need to hang out again. And I'm like, the last thing I want you to do is touch it right now. I'm in so much pain.
God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then walking into the desk, I'm like, yes, hi, I have priapism, self-induced and Trimix. And they're
Wow.
like, excuse me, come again? And I'm like, I have priapism.
And the last one they
I was like,
shout
just
it.
put me in the back. They're like, are you in pain? I'm like, I'm in immense pain. Please take me in the back. And they take you back
my
pretty quickly because you can
God.
actually cause it can affect your erections forever. The blood can come through the skin.
Yeah, no,
you can get necrosis.
they told him
Yeah,
he
you
had
don't want to have that to last.
Damn.
They told him he had a 50% chance of them having to put a pump in to pump the blood. And
Yeah, it's the Pomona implant pump. Yep.
insane.
Yeah.
I haven't checked back with him, but
Well, hopefully
he hasn't gone back in the
heals.
hospital, so I don't know.
Hopefully he
Yeah.
heals. But
He
that
was
if it
not
happens
happy.
naturally like that, that is like a way bigger issue because you're right, they actually have to drain it. Like mine wasn't that bad, thank God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I knew it would happen to me eventually. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah,
But I feel bad for your friend.
Wait, but so it makes you like horny there, but are you horny like mentally?
You
or
don't
no?
have to be horny mentally. It's just causes the blood to stay in
it
that
basically
area
is
that
like
it's put.
a dildo strapped to you.
Yeah, no, you
No
can if you
way.
like I had gotten off that morning, even with it like thinking, okay, well, this will go away after.
Wow.
It did not. And then my friend wanted to hang out again, and I'm like, no, definitely not. We're gonna go to the hospital. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm not sure, but I think it's not right. So let's go.
I've actually had someone come over and didn't tell me and just whipped the shot out. He was just like, oh yeah, I have a little bit of problem. He's like, do you mind? And I was like, do you mind what? And like I turned around to just pour a drink, and before you know it, I'm like, the first time I'd seen of it, the first time I've heard of it, I just didn't even know. And like, I'll be honest, it was hugely a turnoff. I was like, and then he's like, I like kind of went to like put it in my mouth, and like it like numbed my mouth. Like,
no way.
Like, cause it like when he pulled the syringe out, there was still some left on like.
It shouldn't numb you.
Well, I don't know. It was like
you just
I felt
tasted
it.
like
I was
the
like,
alcohol
I might
swab,
have
maybe.
whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
but I was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry.
I
My mom's
told
calling
my
me.
friend that I had used it until after, and then when I was like, will you come to the hospital with me? No, I didn't tell them before either. Because it kind of doesn't seem like the sexiest
I don't recommend
thing.
anyone tell.
Especially though, like,
then also it's a mental
like that easy, like that you prepared.
That, or it's like, oh, like I'm not hot enough to get you hard. It can go both ways for sure.
Yeah.
But, great conversation.
I kind of want to try it.
You want to try mix?
Yeah. I don't
You have to
know.
live. You have to try everything. You gotta try everything
really
once you can
do.
comment on it. I always say.
Yeah,
I
I've
do.
always wanted to try being a top, but I just can never get past the cheeks.
No.
It just can never get that hard. So I'm like, maybe Trimix is the
Trimix
key.
would fix that.
Oh wow,
I would think.
Yeah, because
I mean-
I recently started liking like more femboys recently. So I'm like, okay, let's
Nice.
try that.
I mean, I just like it better than like a Viagra or a Cialis because you don't have that pressure in your head.
Well,
you don't
yes.
see things tinted blue if you take 100 milligram Viagra. You know what I'm saying? It's just in that space that it's put.
Yeah. Well, he dared me to take a Viagra once, and it just gave me a tummy ache. And I was just like literally like gurgling on the toilet. Yeah, it was wild. It didn't
That's
work.
strange.
It didn't
I've
work.
never heard of that reaction.
Neither have I.
No, it
You're
was
special.
wild.
She's
It was
definitely
wild.
special.
A little special.
You can get put on like a regular, like a daily Cialis. It's usually 5 milligrams, but they'll give you up to 20 milligrams.
Yes,
like, on
I know a lot of
daily.
trans porn stars do that, and
It'd be helpful
Okay,
for you to live out your fantasy.
I know, I really want to. I used to be so against. I used to be like, ew, I'm a woman. That's gross. You're a bottom. That's disgusting. And now I'm like, wait a minute, it's kind of hot.
Do you have a problem keeping your white sheets clean?
Do you have a shitty kitty?
Well, we have the perfect solution for you. It's
Douche bedazzle for your asshole.
now back to our regular programming show.
Hey, this could be a water bottle.
Jesus.
Is this used?
So, Justin, we see Shayan brought a bang back, but if you're looking,
Bang.
if you're looking at me, what would you think that I need done?
Oh my God, I hate when people ask that
my God,
question.
really?
I mean, I
I've
do
never,
want.
like,
I mean,
analyzing
I'm in my
other people
30s
like
now,
that.
but I do say probably around my early to mid 40s, I might do just like under here because I notice when I laugh, I'll notice it on the camera. I hate it because when I laugh, I go back and she laughs, she goes forward. But like I noticed this, I'd probably.
I had a platysmoplasty, but I don't really know if it did a ton. Where they just tack this under
really?
here, they just stitch this to this. But I mean, maybe it's a subtle difference. But I mean, I don't think you need anything. But it's a
think
matter of want,
maybe,
right?
yeah.
Like, I think the only thing I need
I'm not
for
against it for
myself as a kid
sure. I just
was
don't
my
want to do it
nose.
too early. That's my only thing. So a lot of people do comment that my nose is good. So I'm like, oh, go perfect. Love that.
You're
but
super cute.
I think like 4,000 cc's breast implants would really put you through.
we
Yeah.
didn't see the D. You're gonna have the phallus implant.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
Lord.
just giant ass tits. I just want to see you like lose a dare and just come out with giant ass.
Oh
What
my
about like the
gosh.
testicular implants? Have you seen them?
not,
They can
no.
pop them in like nudicles if you want whole ones.
Whoa.
But I have friends that like cycle a lot on testosterone and they don't really go off their
yeah,
cycles.
yeah, yeah.
And so their like natural testicle becomes so small.
Nudicles.
They'll just get, well, I say that's the pet version of a testicular prosthesis. But basically it's a whole testicle. They can just cut and like pop in the sack. Or there's a
Wow.
doctor that does caps. So if you have your own natural one, then like he puts like a cap, like you imagine an egg. And imagine you've cut the shell of the egg in half and the inside's hollowed out and it just fits up against the testicle. And then your body grows into it, like supposedly holding it as one. But
Yeah.
I've seen sometimes where they become dislodged and then feels like you have 4 things in there. I had a doctor that was gonna do the caps and he showed up with the full ones. And I was like, no. He's like, yeah, I do this with porn stars all the time. We're just gonna pop them in. I'm like, then I'm gonna have 4. I was like, I don't wanna have 4 balls. So I was like, no, we're taking that off
Wait,
the
that's
list.
kind of cool.
You're gonna have a much weightier sack.
Oh my God. Whoa.
That's funny. So I asked Shayan this, and she doesn't know the answer, and she refused to tell the truth. But if you were to put a price tag on all of you've had done, because I do know you probably get discounts and you go back and forth.
For sure. There's the number I give is the value of, like, we would easily be at like $1 million.
For sure. For sure.
Because
I think that's a low number.
All those revisions that I've had, you know, on those body areas that I expected to have revisions. Like, it's not like people like, oh, that's why you've had some revisions because you have body dysmorphia. I'm like, no, like when I approach a doctor about something that's new and like nobody had done before, right? We go into it with the understanding that like it may not be sufficient enough for me to be happy.
I've watched a couple of your episodes where you go in and it's like it's a 50% chance.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, as long as you're willing to like play with me, I think about it like arts and crafts. Yeah, right. It's not like I'm going, oh my God, my shoulders are so ugly. I was like, isn't this such a cool idea? And wouldn't it be neat if I could be the first person to do this? But that was totally like the driving force. It's not that the only thing as a kid I really didn't like was my nose. Everything else on me, I was like, cool. It was fine, you know. So that was the only thing I really felt like I had to fix for me emotionally to be like happy. But after that, everything else was not a need; it was a want. Right? It was like, wouldn't it be cool if? So I mean, I don't know. That's what I've always like thought about most of my surgeries. Like, it's not like my life would be over if I couldn't have more surgeries. You know, like I'm cool the way it is, but it's cool to need to be able to be a first and a pioneer with that.
For sure. What was your first surgery?
My nose.
Your nose. Same.
When I was 17 years old. Yeah.
Same.
I found my doctor when I was 17, and then I went to my parents and I said, will you sign the release? Because I wasn't of age. I wasn't 18.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, are you insane? Like, because I had been working a job a little bit, and I was like, I saved enough money to do it.
Yeah.
And they would refuse to sign the paper to let me be able to do it. And I was like, well, then I'm going to do it when I'm 18 anyway. And I was still living at home. So I just started prepaying little bits until I was 18. And like 3 days after my 18th birthday, I had my first nose job. My father didn't speak to me for like 2 weeks. We were still in the same house. We would like eat dinner at the table. He would just talk around me like I wasn't there.
Shit.
My eyes are all black and blue.
Can you tell Justin to pass the bread, please?
Wow.
That's how it was.
Passive aggressive. That's funny.
Yeah, my dad was not a fan of the plastic surgery. My mom had actually had her breasts done like shortly before I had my nose done. And the first thing he said to me after 2 weeks was, every time I look at you, I'm as disgusted as when I look at your mother.
Wow.
Horrible. So needless to say, we don't have a good relationship. But and they're not married anymore.
Okay.
But you know, it is what it is. He just was not a very understanding person. No, he didn't really understand about the gay stuff either. He never really met my partners, anything like that. So we've always been a little bit estranged. So
my father and I the same way, but I do believe that at some point they always come back around eventually. I really do.
You never know. He came back around a little. My brother passed away a few years ago, and my that was the first time I'd seen my dad probably in like 10 years. And he kind of swore to everybody he wanted to be reconnected, but really it never happened after that. But you know, you kind of figure it's their loss. I think he feels like I'm supposed to be the one to reach out, and I kind of feel like he's supposed to be the one. So I think everybody just doesn't do. And I'm okay with it. Like, it doesn't affect me. I'm like besties with my mom. She's my biggest cheerleader. She comes to all my surgeries.
Oh my God.
We just went to Istanbul. I had my whole face redone. So I did like deep plane facelift, mid-face suspension. I did endoscopic brow lift. I did upper lid and the platysmoplasty. So we went for 3 weeks. And my mom came the whole time. We got her teeth done. So we recovered together.
Damn.
Yeah, it's cute.
That's cool.
It's a family affair.
Wow.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah. Nose job was my first surgery too. And it was, I remember, because I'm Persian. So it's very common amongst Persian people to get a nose job. Like, my mom's had 2, and it's just like no one really bats an eye with that. And I remember I was like, okay, I wanted a nose job, but I needed to pick out the perfect nose. And I had watched, I think it was what's that? Transformers 2. And I went into the theaters. I remember when Megan Fox came on screen, every guy in the fucking theater stood up and started cheering and be like, yeah, she's so hot. I was like,
she's very hot.
That is what I want to be. And that was the moment where I was like, I want to be like that. I took a photo of her and I was like, give me this nose.
Did you see her in Subordinate recently?
Oh, the Subservient.
Yes.
I've seen it,
Yeah, she's so hot.
Oh, I did see it. Yes. She's the robot one.
The robot robot one.
Yes.
Perfect. She will always be an icon. And yeah, and so I remember I took the photo of Megan Fox's profile and I was like, I want this nose. And he was like, are you sure this is a girl's nose?
Oh God, don't you hate when they make them gender specific? They did the same thing to me. I brought in pictures of women for my nose job, and they were like, the doctors were like, because I interviewed 3 or 4 doctors before I chose my doctor, and they all were like, we're not putting this nose on a young man. And I was like, noses are gender specific? How dare you tell me what my standard of beauty is supposed to be? Like, I'm not asking for your opinion. I only need like your experience. You know what I'm saying? Who are you to judge how I want to look? You know what I'm saying? It was so weird. Like, I had literally, when I wanted to have my brow bone shaved done, it was maybe, he was the guy who did my 3rd or 4th nose job, and I wanted to throw that in on the mix last minute, and he was like, but why do you want this? Because that's part of FFS surgery.
Right.
And I was like, because I like a flat forehead. I just don't like to see that lift here. And if we're already in there doing my nose, like, why not do the coronal cut and like rasp it down for me? And then I had to actually go and like show him old pictures of me in drag to get him to buy off to do it. And I'm like, oh no, it's for my work. It's for my work. Because I used to be a drag queen years ago. I was on a house cast and all that. And so I had to lie. At that point, I wasn't even doing drag anymore. But I had to lie and show him pictures of that to get him to like buy off on it to do it. But it's so weird to me that people think like certain body mods are gender specific.
Interesting.
I mean, they don't have to be, I don't think. Right? You should be able to decide.
But that's the thing, is I didn't even know it was like a trans thing at the time. I just knew I wanted that nose. Like, and then it was after. Yeah, and then it was
Shayan's
after.
like, I want these labias.
For
They're
sure.
like, excuse me, sir.
No, for sure. And then after that was sort of the world when I started like looking up and research and seeing like, oh, I can actually transition into I didn't know it was a thing, especially back then.
Sure.
You know? So yeah, it's wild. So
yeah, I know that's really different when we were like kids, right? I think my first girlfriend looked very much, when I first saw her from across the bar, I was back in the day doing drag, and when I first saw her, I thought her friends came up to me after my show and said, oh, our friend thinks you're really hot. And these 2 girls, and I said, oh, who? And then they pointed the person out. And I was like, oh, I've seen him around. Like, he's super cute. And he had like thuggy, like short cut hair, spiky. And they were like, that's our girlfriend, Rachel. And I was just like, oh, okay. And they introduced us, and we were together for 4.5 months. That was my longest standing and first sex ever with a girl. I was already out, and I hadn't even been with girls. But it was so weird that like we found each other, and I think in a different time, she probably would have identified more as like a trans male.
For sure.
But it was just funny because it was total role reversal.
Yeah.
I was like the chick, and she was like the dude. Like, but it was like, but actually, like, her parents were liked us. They were Mormon, and they were like, you're the only person that they liked, and they just because you have a penis, like so she was angry. I'm like, why aren't you happy that your family likes me? She's like, because they don't really care like anything else, and they had basically sequestered her out of the house and all that because she was only into women before. But she loved me in drag more than I think she loved me out of drag. It's very interesting.
That makes for a good story though.
It was very
That really
interesting.
is.
Yeah.
So you always seem very uplifting, high energy, and happy.
Thanks.
What is something that really makes you mad? Like something that you can't even control and that actually pisses you off?
Yeah.
Like, is it road rage? Is it someone who like we've hung with the same groups for so long?
I have like a thick skin just from doing so much television.
I see that. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to have
I'm not
an
gonna say
answer.
it doesn't hurt your feelings when you hear people talking about you, but I mean, to the extent that you're actually like really upset about it. No.
Yeah, I just don't see that, you being angry.
I think many things really
why.
make me super upset. I mean, unless like, a sugar takes away your allowance. That's my love language is monetary, money, gifts. For sure.
Okay.
So that would be the way to make me really angry and feel like I was not worthy or devalued.
Ooh.
It's not. I'm not like the other things like quality time, words of affirmation, all this stuff. I'm like flexible with all
That's
that
funny.
stuff.
I'm quality time. She is affirmation.
I love that book though. Yeah. Oh, really? No, for me, I don't know. I think it's stupid because growing up like in a household where like we didn't really have a lot, like when someone has taken over that role.
No,
and I feel very like, wow, like he really likes me. It's so weird. Like even like this watch, like when that person gave me this watch, I remember I had to like dig into the trash because he had left the hotel.
Rose gold day date?
Well, actually, it wasn't. But it was a watch, and I dug through the trash to find the receipt because he had it delivered.
Oh,
and
shit.
so when I pulled it out and I saw how much it was, I was like, it was like 5 digits, and I was like, wow, he likes me.
Oh
like
my
I didn't even
gosh,
know
I
at the time
love
it was an IWC, and I had no clue what an IWC was. So I'm like, I don't know, it's like a fossil. I don't know how he gave me. And then I pulled this receipt out, and I'm like, and that's when I knew that he really wanted to be with me,
That's
and that he like
awesome.
validated me through that. And he was someone who was used to like spoiling people, like his family, his loved ones, with his coin.
That's me. So I go for people who are gifts and whatever. So that's my thing. I like to be the sugar daddy, 100%. 100%. Like I tried the role reversal and being the baby. I could not do it.
You don't like feeling dependent.
I don't like feeling dependent. I don't like the. I'm a little bit more of a control freak, so I don't like when that control aspect of like they think that they can buy you. Like I had someone that was like, literally, come to New York. You'll never have to work a day in your life. Just like sit in my apartment all day. And I was like, that sounds fucking horrible. Where some people maybe like, this sounds like a life, bitch. I could sit and do whatever. I just, I couldn't do it. And
well, you're still kind of out there beck and call, normally, right? But you know, you're like your wifey.
Yeah, to each their own. Yeah,
I
I like someone who likes that because like my thing is like I want, if I text you or call you, you're probably home playing video games, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I know where you're at, and I mean, I'll never have to check your phone. I never have to go on where the little Find My Boyfriend app. It's like I know where he's at. It's fine and it's cool. So, but I totally get what you're saying. So, but it is true though. I know that when I'm mad and I've taken the credit card away, and it's like
the power play,
and they snap back real quick.
Yep.
And you know what? And I can totally see that's funny. I like that.
Yeah,
that's definitely a way to get me wrestled up. When I think about my past,
see, that doesn't work with me because like a date to Nobu, honestly, we could be sipping 40s on the bus, going to the beach. As long as you call me pretty the whole ride, you're my
good.
man.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
For sure. Let's drink Modelo's on the beach. Cheap date. I don't need to go to Nobu. I don't need gifts. I don't need nothing. I just need you to remind me every day that I'm the hottest girl on the earth, and you'll literally kill another bitch.
So funny. I'm the opposite. And one who sits there and is like, you're hot, because I worked at the bar my entire life, and you have people pining for you, and it's just like your attention and this and that. You're like, I'll play into it at the bar, but when I'm at home, if there's a guy who's sitting there and constantly, I'm like, call me ugly, tell me I'm retarded. Like, I don't really care. Like, that's what I want, because I'm just, my entire life is working at a gay bar, and, you being in the gay bar, you see how that goes. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, no.
But you're kind of shallow conversations normally. Well, it's so loud. How can you be in depth at the gay bar anyway? But you probably get a lot of people that adorize you.
Yeah.
You're
hot. They do. They do. Ooh, so question. What is the most expensive surgery you've gotten? Like one specific thing that you were like, damn.
Well, the total of the tallies on my shoulder, like I wouldn't have known I was going to have 5 different surgeries on my shoulders. But like the shoulders ended up running me like 80-something thousand by the time I was done with the 5 surgeries. But I didn't know I was going to want to have 5 surgeries. It was just like the first one was just like, looked like a horrible mangled mess. And then I had to go to find a different doctor and have all those pieces taken out. And then I designed my own. So my back, I was definitely I was at like 89,000. That was a bunch of different procedures. Wow. So, and then I ended up taking my latissimus implants out because I just didn't heal. Like, because I had my latissimus and my teres implants in, and my latissimus implants, like, I wanted to make them thinner because I felt like they were too bulky. But I had healed fine from them. I had them for like 2 years. And then I was like back on the market after my divorce. Every time I was intimate with someone, they were like, what's that? Like my back, it looked like there was a jetpack inside my back.
Oh, shit.
It was cool from the front, but from the back, I looked like RoboCop. It also doesn't move like with you. So I was so skinny, and then there's this, this back in place. So I wanted to downsize. I still wanted to keep them, but downsize them. So I went to the doctor, and he said, yeah, we can probably just take these out and put in the smaller one. I was like, yeah, but going from a bigger to a smaller doesn't usually like stick down well. And he's like, well, we'll like bind you up really tight and like we'll pray. And I was like, okay. So then I designed the back implant. One of them is here. He put them in, and I just got seromas. I got seromas so bad. When your body puts fluid into that pocket.
Right.
Because it was a pre-existing capsule, so there was no way for my body to pull the fluid out of that capsule.
Whoa.
So they were just aspirating it. I mean, I had drains in for months, and he was like, "You're not infected," but he's like, "When are you? We can just take them out and let your body heal." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna prove to everyone I can do it." He's like, "You already did that with the last set of back implants," and I'm like, "But I'm gonna prove I can do it again." I stayed with those, and they kept having to change the drain holes. When it was not pleasant. And basically they're like, don't move, because the more you move, the more seromal fluid build up. So you're basically like bedridden with tubes coming out of your back on both sides.
I know sometimes you do have to just listen to your body. I always wanted a belly button piercing, and the amount of times my body has rejected.
Do your belly button piercing?
But the amount of times my body has rejected my belly button piercing.
What do you mean? It pushes it out?
It's just like it will just smell. It will get infected. It will pus out. It was just horrible. And I would just keep sticking stuff in. I'm like, no, it can't close up. And no. I mean, different struggles.
I had a belly button piercing. My mom, I was in drag and I was doing an event, and my mom, they had free piercings above the waist, and so my mom had come, and she was like, "I'm gonna get my belly button done." And she was like, "You should do it." And I'm like, "I don't really want to have piercings. I've never been a piercing person. Like, it's not that bad." But I was like, "I don't really want to." And my mom was like, "Don't be a pussy." And I was like, "Oh,
those are fighting words right there,
Mom." So I was like, "Well, you do it first, so you don't back out." So she did hers, and I did mine after. It lasted me 3 days, and I was literally at the bar doing another drag show, and I was like, "Take this thing out of my navel," and they were in the back, like trying to bust the ball out of the ring, and finally went pink and just popped out, and I never put it back in.
Yeah,
there we go.
It's an annoying
it made me
piercing to
feel
have.
fat because it's hanging off you. It made me so conscious that where my stomach was all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm already particular, so I didn't need to be reminded that I had to like suck in all 24/7.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe I should get that then.
Or even when you'd like carry like boxes or anything, it would just like rub up.
Why not like a Prince Albert or a ladder?
Oh, yikes. That'd be
No.
wild.
Have you
No,
seen
yeah.
that the penile bisections they do now?
Where they split it?
Yeah.
No.
Have you seen some people just split the bottom, and then when they get hard, it like opens
I have seen
like
that.
this. And some people split the bottom and the top, and then it's like two scragglies. I saw somebody that bisected their testicles, so it was two separate sacs around each testicle.
I'm gonna Google this shit actually.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of bisected tongues. I dated someone with a bisected tongue.
They can
fun.
move independently. The
Yeah,
tongues go like that.
That was fun. Dang, the penis. That's wild.
Yeah, but it kind of renders you unable to like penetrate anything.
Yeah.
you know?
It's for sure.
It wouldn't be for me, but I'm enamored with all types of body mods. Like I look at all that stuff. I think it's cool.
Interesting.
That's
There's like this
sexy.
space alien project guy on Instagram, and he's like chopped off his nose, cut off his ears.
I've seen
He cut off
him.
like two of his fingers now, and cut off two of the toes. Like I don't know, it always like interests me. And then to figure out what people's backstories were, and try to put together like why
wild.
they're motivated to do what they do.
I think that's
it's
hot.
cool.
I've always wanted to date someone that gets stared more than me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like someone that's more just like I don't know, unique.
But you have to
looking,
get the pretty.
fascinating. I get the pretty, but
Yeah.
definitely it would just help to balance out the.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes where I just want to chill and just blend in, and it's so hard to. But I mean, we chose this life.
You're iconic. You love the attention though, too.
Yes.
We're akin on that. for
But
sure.
if I'm like going to CVS at like cracked out at like 4 a.m., like no,
That's fun.
for sure. I'm like leave me alone.
So Justin, do you still get starstruck when you see people, or do you see yourself as the only star?
Well,
Period.
I think of myself as like an F-lister.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
I'm not even a D-list. I'm an F-lister. But I don't know. I mean, because I've just come
that's-
to the realization that people really are people. They're just
Yeah.
they're not really any more or less special than you, right?
I think
they have
that
a different facet of interest.
When you
right?
say F-lister, it's interesting to me because I guess it's all subjective. You know what I mean? Because if anyone says a human Ken doll, you are going to be who pops
Yeah,
in their
for sure.
mind. You know
Pops
what I
up
mean?
right in my head.
Which is kind of funny because I don't know any celebrities at all. Like, besides obviously the super A-listers, you know what I mean? The Megan Foxes in this. If you mention anyone else, I wouldn't know who it is. But I've always known, even before I was out or gay or whatever, I always knew of
No
you. You know what I
way.
mean?
Yeah,
Because
for
God, you
sure.
make me sound old.
Well, 'cause you were
That's so
on-
funny when the kids say that.
No,
like, I used to watch
no.
you when I was a kid, and I'm like, I know you mean that in a good way, but
Yeah.
No, well, you were on an MTV show once back in the day. I remember, and I couldn't remember what it was. Or you were a reference for an MTV show because I remember it was True Life. I lived for the True Life series,
Yeah.
and I remember there was a True Life series of the guy who wanted to be Justin Bieber. And
oh
then-
God, Toby Sheldon, he passed away. Bless
Yeah, I
his heart.
saw
Yeah.
that. And then
But I knew
there was a
Toby.
comparison to you, which I think I went down like a rabbit hole. But I've always known of you, so I'd see you more of higher than an F-lister for sure.
Yeah,
for
sure.
sure.
I
But
think, about
I
myself
think
like
it's
that.
subjective. You know,
On
what I
like
mean?
on that last the last bit I did on Dr. Odyssey, it was so weird to me. They're like, "Oh, you have a star role," because I'm starting to like branch out and maybe do a little scripted and dabble beyond
Oh,
just
yeah.
reality.
Yeah, same.
You know,
same.
because after a while, you're kind of like, okay, I've done all this. You
Yeah.
know, so I mean, I have the worst memory known
Yeah.
to mankind. But they were ABC and Paramount were great. Like they gave me like the acting coach and a line coach and all
Yeah.
that. And so but then I realized like the other stars that they had lined up, it was like Gina Gershon was actually in our episode. Then we had Margaret Cho was one of their guest stars, Shania Twain. And I was like, wait, I'm on this roster?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm, better or as good as them, but it was just interesting that they were like, no, like you're known for this. And it's Justin Jedlica as Ken.
100%.
So, I mean, thank you, I guess, for saying that.
No,
but
I see that for sure.
It was such like an inadvertent part of my life. Like I never really set out to do TV, right?
Yeah.
Like I did body mods because I loved it.
Yeah.
But I didn't move to LA with like this, I want to move here as a kid so that I could
100%.
just be known for this
You
thing,
should
right? It
definitely
was
do
just
acting,
based
though.
off of a passion. It was kind of like an
Yeah.
organic, weird thing that happened. Like, I mean, I never could have planned that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I
If
didn't
there was
plan
a
on being
television
here in
show
front
on
of
you,
our podcast.
I would 100% watch it for sure.
Life in Plastic, it's fantastic.
I mean, why didn't they ask you to be in the Barbie movie?
I don't know. I was so offended.
I bet.
That
so
is, yeah. What the
offended.
fuck?
There's supposed to be a second one, right? I'm
You
sure they're
better
filming
be
it.
in that. Like, I will write a letter.
At least a cameo for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That would be
cool.
so good.
I
I
know.
would so watch that.
They didn't call me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times I've done these roles and it's like guy with plastic surgery. I was in this movie called El Tonto the Fool, and I had one line with Kate Beckinsdale, and that was my role, guy with plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, I'm like trying to slowly step into the realm of acting, and I'm at a dilemma because as much as I want to look like Stripperella, which you can insert a photo here of how Stripperella looks, and I want the bolt-on boobs, and I want that like very hourglass accentuated like look. I'm also like, but should I also like de-drag a little and also do like serious acting roles too? So I don't know. I'm kind of at a
Oh, you're saying like, what if you don't know if you can pass up like just being the glamazon all the time?
Yeah, like I'm like, what if
Yeah.
I want to like just be in like I saw The Last Showgirl last night, and it was so interesting to see Pamela Anderson in like just a very serious, like no drag, no nothing, just natural role, and I'm like, oh, I want to do stuff like that too.
I was gonna say, did you enjoy it?
Oh my god, it was amazing. It was
Oh, I didn't
insanely
see it.
amazing. It was so good, and she actually liked my story.
She did, yeah.
She did. I posted it. She liked my story. I'm like, oh my god, like I hyperventilated. I died. It was the happiest moment. But yeah, so I'm like, oh, I don't know, but maybe down the line I'll like de-drag.
Stop.
Maybe.
Can I feel your leg?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Feel it. Yeah, but this is like this whole piece here.
Yeah.
And then there's here the medialis. So this is like a teardrop here, and then there's two in the calf.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow, I love it.
It's like carrying around my art. Like most painters, like they
Yeah.
have to have their canvas hanging on the wall. I get to wear mine all the time.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think it's cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I like that you asked though, because a lot of times people love to just come
They just
up and
touch. Oh, and they're like, can I touch you?
Yeah.
And they're already grabbing
yeah,
everything.
and they're like, oh my god, your boobs. And
I
I'm
know they're
like,
curious, so I don't usually
oh,
take
shit.
offense to
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
better than them like being nasty behind your back, because
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
people
true.
like assume you're going to be a certain way. Like
Yeah.
they just think because of that title, which I never even called myself that. Like the media said that.
Yeah.
Like they started calling me the human Ken doll. Like the last thing I wanted to be
Love that.
was
That's so
thought of
great.
as like the stereotypical Western ideal of beauty. Like I wanted to be different, not that, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily not Ken, but I never really thought about that as an inspiration. So it was so weird that when they said it, it just kind of stuck. And then the TV
Interesting.
appearances start to roll in, but all under that title. Like, you're
Yep.
the human Ken doll. And I was like, am I?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that
Okay.
because I thought that you aspired to be that, to be quite honest with you.
yeah.
I
Like,
mean, now I've learned to embrace it, right?
Right.
Obviously,
Yeah.
it's
Such a
it's-
great brand.
It's part
It's
of
a
like
good thing to be
everything
known
that I
for.
am now.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, you like question because then people hear that terminology and they think, oh, like he's just a total bimbo, like he doesn't have any smarts, or that you're going to be super narcissistic or stuck up. And so I feel like a lot of times, half of what I have to do initially in meeting somebody is kind of combat those things.
Yeah.
Because I already assume that, they have seen those media bits that have been, set up to cause controversy on,
Right.
extremist ends.
Right.
Or they have friends who have said like, oh my God, can you believe that guy? Like,
Yeah.
that he thinks he's this,
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends say, you don't know how many times we have to like defend you.
Yeah.
And he's like, my friends will always be like, well, like, we tell them like, have you actually met Justin? Like,
Yeah,
you ever
yeah,
talked to him?
yeah,
They're like,
for
no,
sure.
but we know what he's like. And it's
Yeah.
just like, that becomes hard. Like that prejudgment
Yeah.
definitely becomes difficult, especially like being single and trying to meet someone
Yeah.
else. And like, how do you envelop yourself in someone else's world when, likelihood is that they're family members, that they probably have seen you on television and have some sort of preconceived notion of who you are,
Exactly.
That becomes difficult for sure.
Yeah. Damn.
Who would you say is your equivalent of like the human Barbie? Do you have like your
I can't
go-to Barbie?
say all
You
my
have your
girls will
go-to-
kill me if I pick one.
Oh my God, I'm sure they're all
I
fighting.
filmed with so many of them,
Oh yeah. Wait, which one is the one with the Russian one where she says she
Valeria.
Yeah, she only eats from the sun.
Okay, well, she and I had like beef a long time ago.
Right, internet beef.
Yeah,
I remember that.
But she's not.
The dolls
she
are
wasn't
fighting.
Real.
Yeah.
It
was
all
Photoshop. Yes.
All of it.
Oh my God,
Really?
yes.
It was all Photoshop.
She'd be like, I eat from the sun. I don't eat.
Yeah,
Like,
I live on air and light alone.
Yes,
And then
yes.
she was teaching classes about how to be a spiritual leader to live your life without emotion.
Oh, what?
That was the key,
Whoa.
to being like a healthy individual, not to be like irrational. Don't lead your life with your emotions. Like, it was like such a racket. I couldn't take it. I ran into her. I was doing like an Inside Edition bit, and they intentionally threw me into this room with her, but I wasn't actually supposed to be filming that. And I happened to have like a camera on me, so in chit chatting with her, she would not speak. I'm talking to her, and she's like. But no teeth, no smile, really, like with her hands. It was so weird. And then I kept trying to get her to like laugh and cut up with me. And eventually, when she broke a smile, her manager was like, "No, she can't do that. We can't show her smiling. She can't do that because she doesn't want to show any emotion, I guess." And after I'm like, "Okay, well, can we take some pictures?" And I take out my camera, and she's like, "This Photoshop." I mean, she's basically like a cisgendered woman who, in my opinion, was just doing drag.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Interesting.
just over stylized, feminine. I mean, she's wearing the waistband up here, right under her breast, so it looks like her legs are elongated. Like all those tricks of the trade you learn.
Yeah,
with
and then a
female
lot of
impersonation.
Photoshop, right?
And a lot of Photoshop.
Yeah, I remember that came out.
Okay, cool, great. But then like she made me take my cartridge out of the camera and put her cartridge in, and then she owned the pictures. Then she sold them to GQ. And by the way, in those pictures, I look like I'm like 9 years old because she photoshopped us both so much. But I was like, how rude. She didn't even split any of the money she got from GQ. And it's probably one of our most used photos.
Wow.
And then she also like talked shit after, right? Or
Well,
something,
I did an interview, and I was just like, I was just saying exactly what I said to you. How what she's doing is impersonation, but she's not living with a commitment to that form. And I feel like that's a large part of like what I hinge on is that you have to be committed to that process. Like once you're in it, like there's no going back, right? You have to live with the good things that come from it and potentially the bad things that come from it.
Yes.
Because there's risks and complications potentially with a lot of these things.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's not to be taken lightly. Like she's just playing dress up. Do you know what I'm saying? So she doesn't deserve to be on the same platform as me. I don't think.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I risk
You
a
put
lot
the
more.
work in. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could die
And
on
also,
the
you
table.
also educate a lot of people too.
Sure.
On
No,
surgery.
totally. Yeah. She's, I don't know. I don't get it. But we don't see eye to eye for sure. We haven't spoken since then.
I mean, I haven't really heard of her in a while, so.
No, she disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't eat. So, she just disappeared.
Damn, that is wild.
That's what happened.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
Valeria
I love the look.
Lukanovska or something like that.
Wait.
I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
Where does this piece go? I didn't get to ask you.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't go in your phallus. So I'll tell you that much. That's quad.
Oh, quad.
That
This is a
piece-
quad.
So that is a quad, and that is another version
Got
of
it.
a quad.
Okay, got it.
This one has the more definition
Yeah,
that goes
for
all the
sure.
way
Okay,
through
got
for
it.
the
And
two
this is
muscle
more-
groups, even
okay.
though so it's meant to have one implant mimic two muscle groups. And the doctor kind of preferred this one because he felt like this wasn't going to stick as well. Anyway,
Got
we
it.
have our reasons for all our
Do
stuff.
you have a preference of implants versus silicone injections?
Well, listen, with silicone, first of all, like you want to make sure you're going to a good practitioner who has good product that's like sterile and medical grade and all of those things. Because I think silicone's gotten a bad rap because
But it's
Sure.
still black mark. It's still not legal, right?
that's not true.
Oh, wait, what?
There's FDA approved. There's two versions of FDA approved silicone, but it is used in ocular surgeries. So it is off market use for them to use it as a filler, let's say. But it is used in ocular surgeries. So there is two brands. So Bausch and Lomb makes one, and then there's another. So I mean, a doctor can use that. They can do off market things with things like that. It's just not intended specifically for that purpose.
Yeah.
So no, I've had touch ups with
Yeah.
legally approved silicone.
So you have a nice little rump up behind you.
I've had a lot of silicone injections in my
I would
ass.
say, is that silicone or would that be more? Because I've seen some interesting implants where they flip, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah, you can feel the ridge sometimes too. So
okay.
yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, it all depends. Listen, with an implant, you're gonna get like a lot of definition. Silicone's gonna sit more fleshy.
Got it.
Also, like with an injection, you don't have the downtime of a surgery.
Okay.
But you know, an implant is gonna have a lifetime warranty
Yeah.
on it, and
There we go.
I've always seen people to be fine with implants.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, you have a scar too with an injection, you just have a needle prick. So I mean,
okay.
but silicone, some people have bad reactions to like years down the road.
Right.
They get inflammation
Turns black.
responses.
Yeah.
Some people say they have pain. I mean, but also I question, you know, did they go to a doctor? Did they have good products?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. And a lot of people I don't even know that they ask.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
go in and go, just do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. I tend to over research everything and everybody.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's your body and you have to live with it forever.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
something like that is not a temporary.
For sure.
But they do like BBLs and that with hyaluronic acid, you know, HA filler,
Right.
temp filler.
Well, only in Mexico, I know
People are
they do
using
the hyaluronic
Sculptra
acid.
too. I mean, here
Right.
they're doing Beverly Hills. They charge a fortune.
Yeah. So expensive.
So expensive.
I went to Mexico for the hyaluronic acid injections. It hurt like fuck.
Wow.
It was so painful. And yeah, and I had that burning sensation for a while. And so I was a little scared. I'm like,
How many
"Oh, I hope it's not."
cc's
450 cc.
in each?
Total.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not that. It wasn't that much.
Enough
But it
to
hurt.
see, but not huge.
It hurt.
I have a girlfriend who went and she had 8 liters put in at one time.
What?
I feel so bad for
Yeah,
her.
no, they capped me off at like, I think it was only 8 vials I was allowed to get.
yeah.
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 Wow.
Wild.
Yeah. I hear it. You know, you just have to be smart about your choices. At least
Yeah.
with HA, like you can dissolve it if you don't like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hyaluronidase will disperse it.
Wow.
So if it's a true HA product.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the other stuff, what Belafil, right? So it's
Oh, permanent.
PMMA
Right.
mixed with a temporary. It used to all be PMMA, and then this other company bought it, and now it's
Yeah.
kind of like 1/4 permanent.
You have to get like
3/4.
allergy tested for that, I know.
Probably,
Yeah,
but it
Belafil.
has a permanent in it.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
we
right.
recommend it, I would say,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So wild.
It's like you guys are speaking another language.
Love it.
I'm like, yeah,
love
sure. I love that. PPFs.
I love that.
You know,
stuff.
microplastics. So when you go to find a mate or someone to date, do you prefer them to also have plastic surgery? Do you not care?
No.
Actually, listen, I'm not going to tell someone that they shouldn't or I would be opposed
Right.
to it, but it's definitely not an expectation.
Okay.
And to say that I would be turned on more so by someone with surgery versus someone without, no, because I mean, that's my shtick.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Got it.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like where like I get my kudos and what people know me for. Like it doesn't, I wouldn't expect someone else to be like that.
Yeah. Cool.
You know, to have that as an interest. I mean, they need to be understanding that I don't think like I'll ever be finished modifying or maintaining.
Yeah.
But as long as they're okay with that, maybe they're even turned on by that. I think some of my exes in the past have been kind of turned on by the fact that I like to be body modded and a little bit more like, well, you might say that you're making yourself like a sex doll. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
You're objectifying yourself a little bit by over stylizing your body.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely don't
Cute.
look specifically for someone who has that. Listen, if they have it because it makes them confident, then great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fixes something in their head to make them feel better, then great.
Yeah.
But no,
Wow.
I mean, I don't need them to steal my shine.
I know. I like my men to look like Gollum, so they're hot. But I've never had that. I've usually always had guys to be like, "Oh, I like you more natural. I like you with no makeup. I like you with the," and I'm like, "Ew, no, I want
All
you to
right.
like."
You're like, I don't feel good like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I either way, it's like, I mean, I don't even think they need to voice that opinion. I'm like, you like me for both ways,
Right,
like
sure.
glam and natural, because I've had opposite, but yeah, it's wild. Like, ugh.
And you?
Me?
Do you like your partners to
d-
have plastic surgery or don't care?
Most of the time, they're so poor that they couldn't even afford any of that. Which
They don't ask you
Yeah.
for like, you know, babe, I want pec implants for Christmas. I did that one.
Oh
That's
my
how I got my
gosh.
pecs.
Wow.
That's
My
funny.
partner at the time.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, the worst part was that he actually broke up with me before I got them, and I still held him to the deal.
Oh my god!
I was like,
God.
you
Over his
promised me
head.
that you were going to give this to me.
You're like,
Not fair.
And he kept the promise?
He did.
That's
Wow.
And he
cool.
even
You
came
didn't have
down down and took
pull out,
care of
like,
me.
You're like, a verbal
extortion?
contract is still legal in California.
Wow.
But no, he even came down and took care of me for some
Wow,
of that.
that's so
That's
nice.
Yeah,
cute.
because I had
I love
That
that.
never
Florida.
works for me. I've always had to resort to extortion. Do it, and I'll just
She's not
destroy
lying.
You've seen firsthand.
So
you. Ew. Oh my god, that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. Wow. I want someone to pay for my new boobs. I have to get them revised. It's wild. Yeah. So maybe you can design them.
Oh, new breast implants?
Yeah.
Well, how big are yours now? 400?
They're 700 cc.
Oh, 7.
I know.
But the
But
biggest
now
you can really go up to is like a 9 unless you
800.
custom, right? Yeah.
800 with that, so I will have to do the
Unless you do the expanders. There's doctors that don't really advertise it. But there are people who put expanders in and then they can inflate it from the port on the side.
Right.
So you can like push it bigger and bigger. A
Bigger
lot of
and
the girls
bigger.
who have like extreme size, like 1,000 plus, 2,000. I have a girlfriend of mine, she has 10,000 cc's in each.
Wow.
Yeah, Foxy Menagerie. She's super cool. But I mean, whoa, the girls are big.
Yeah.
They're real big. But I mean, it's totally her thing. She loves it.
I love it.
wild.
I love
but
it too.
those are like they're like expanders, so they continue to like expand and expand and expand the skin.
Okay,
Damn.
yeah. Because I never knew what to do because my doctor's like, oh, I can only go up to 800.
Right.
So he gave me 700. And I'm like, oh, a little bit bigger.
Wow, they look good.
A little bit.
You're not gonna fit in clothes then.
I know,
Everything's
but
gonna have to be custom.
It really will.
Along with the custom
be.
boobs, you'll have to have custom outfits to go. Yeah.
Custom body, custom outfits.
She's
That's what I heard. Very
Tell me about it.
expensive.
Cool.
For sure.
Yes.
And I do want to get my ribs removed.
Yeah.
That's definitely on the list of things to do.
Sounds
It's really,
painful.
Is it really okay?
Sounds painful,
Is it
but I mean,
painful?
all my girlfriends, nobody else really complained about it. It's just the idea of someone coming along my vertebrae sounds
Yeah, for some reason that
weird,
freaks
and
me
then
out too.
they clipped them off. I think it was Jessica. She actually said she took her ribs home. There was a big article in the Daily Mail. I was like, "Are you allowed to do that from Los
Yeah.
Angeles to UK?" She's
Yeah.
carrying
That's
around her
wild.
ribs.
And Pixie, I think she got the most out of anyone.
Yeah,
Most ribs
she had
removed.
Epley took out the lower 3 and 3 from what I know because
Okay.
I think Jessica just had the 2 and 2. Most
Right.
doctors, if they do it, well, most don't do it, but if they
Right.
do, they're doing the 2 and 2 that are floating. Epley
Right.
willing to take one more that's
Yeah.
connected to the cage
Yeah.
lately.
Wow.
Yeah, and then like you just corset like crazy, but Pixie loved corseting.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so she
I'm
would
lazy.
like wake up and basically lay down in bed with it. She just because she believed like you wear it enough, they claim right that your
Right,
organs
right,
and all
right.
that can kind of sit that way, but
Right.
you can't be without it for a super long amount of time. Like you have to continue to wear that to maintain that shape.
Right.
And they say it's possible to
What
change
is
your
what did she
body.
say the recovery was like?
Well, everything we always say 2 weeks. It's like a renovation. How much
But like
longer?
pain
2
level,
weeks.
pain level was really crazy. Or
She didn't really say
She
anything
didn't say
horrible
much.
about it to me
Okay.
that I remember. But we were always
Yeah.
getting stuff done together. We did a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff on camera.
Yeah.
I had my first like face mini lift with her.
Wow.
Yeah, and they wrapped my head in blue bandages and they wrapped her in pink ones.
Yeah. Did you ever have a surgery that was so painful and you were like,
Yes.
I cannot do this again?
My first shoulder surgery, but I think that doctor just mangled my insides.
Really?
Yeah, he also wouldn't let me make my own implants, and that was when I was just realizing I could do that.
Yeah.
And so I had custom my pec implant a little bit, but then I did biceps and then the shoulders. So I was kind of like, well, I just don't know why you won't let me make my own pieces. Well, you won't know until you're in there how big of a cavity I can create. I'm like, I can see all my musculature. Like I can
Yeah.
see it. Like I'm so skinny. Like I'm lucky that way.
Yeah.
But he insisted on carving them from a block while he was in surgery. How do you cut 6 pieces and do the dissection and do the closure? And so sure enough, like they did not come out good. And I was in excruciating pain. Like it was horrendous.
There was a moment where you were like, I don't think I could ever get surgery again. Or
Well, no,
At
because
the
I couldn't
time?
live with the way they looked. And I was
Oh,
still doing
okay.
media and press about it, but my arms were bandaged. I was like up to like a year later and I'm like, oh, the doctor says I have to keep it on, which was a lie. I was just cosmetically trying to like hide it
Yeah.
until I could get another doctor to help me, fix it and let me put my pieces in. So I finally found someone who was willing to work on that, with me.
So you were on Botched, correct?
8 times now.
Yeah. So the shoulder
I was
was
the first. I was the
Yeah.
first episode ever.
wow.
Yeah, I remember that because oh my gosh, what was her name with the boobs that up and down? Janice Dickinson. I was pretty close with Janice Dickinson
Yeah,
for a little while.
She's fun, but she's crazy.
She's crazy.
I was at her wedding.
Oh, nice. To the doctor, or what is he again?
Not a doctor. I don't
Lawyer? What is he? He does something, but no, she is crazy. The
It was
first time
still
I
being filmed. Yeah, she is nuts.
I ever went to her house, she was laying on the floor butt naked, and she's like, "I need you to help me pull my pants up." And I was like, "Okay." Like,
I mean, we love her because
Yeah,
she's so
no.
iconic and such a
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
But I mean, just
Absolutely.
like get ready, like seatbelt yourself in when Janice
yeah,
is around.
and she would come into Mickey's and say hi and like hang out at my bar and like expect the most. And
Just
I'm like,
the
just
first
Mickey's
Super
bitch.
Bowl.
Like, I don't know
For
what to give you,
sure.
like, but
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So,
Yeah, but she did complain a little bit about the placement, I think, of her chest. I don't know if she ever
yeah,
went back
I remember
to
her
fix
nipple
it.
was like,
Yeah, she showed me a little bit at one of the reunions, that we did with Watched. So, but I mean, I would assume if it still bugged her, she probably would have fixed it by
Yeah.
now.
My
Yeah.
BBL was the most painful surgery ever. I was
Your
like,
what?
BBL. I was like,
Oh.
like it just burned.
With
It
the
felt-
hyaluronic acid?
No,
No,
no, no. When I
BBL, there's-
actually got my
with the
BBL.
fat transfer.
Yes, in my hips.
They call everything a BBL now.
Yeah,
no matter
no,
what
no,
they're
true,
filling
true,
it with.
true. No, yeah. So
Really?
I went to Miami for it, and it was the fat transfer, but it was in my hips. It felt like there was lava inside. And I
Whoa.
was screaming. I was crying.
I wouldn't think that because it's your own fat.
Yes. No, I was literally crying, and I was like praying to God. I was like, I'll never get another surgery again. Meanwhile, I've had like 3 since.
You know, I think most people who have like aesthetic surgery that is cosmetic, specifically cosmetic, where it's elective, you probably, if in the beginning, your first surgery or two, there's always that moment you're like, why did I do this to myself? Because you always look worse before you look better.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that process.
Yeah.
And there's no way to understand it till you go through it, to be
Yeah.
honest, right? It's
For
true.
sure.
But there's always like, that first day after, you're more swollen the second day than you are the first day you come home, from the doctor, and you're like, oh, crap. Like, I can't believe I did this to myself.
Yeah, for sure.
And
but other than that, most of my surgeries did not hurt at all.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like I got my eyes done, and I was like out with the tapes, just like hey, just like hanging out with people, literally fully taped up. It was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So crazy. That was a really expensive surgery. Anything eye related is so expensive.
You had like the fox eyes?
So
Like a
I went to
canthopexy?
Dr. Taban.
Okay.
And actually what's so wild is a lot of people recognize me for being on his website more than anything. I guess that's my claim to fame. Because I'm like, what if they apparently go in and they ask for the siren eyes. So I'm like, okay, period. So I used to have kind of like bulgy eyes a little bit because I lost a lot of weight, and then I was like dealing with a lot of hollowness and like, I don't know, they think it was like Hashimoto's related. I do not know.
Interesting.
Didn't go to the doctor, but went to get surgery. And so, they put an implant in.
Oh, like an orbital rim implant.
Yes, and
Yeah.
they did orbital decompression. So they literally went behind my eye and pulled my eye in more. And then, they put like a transfer of fat over here. It was like a whole
Wow.
thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. You have had a lot of trust in that
And it
doctor
was-
because that's your vision, it's your
Yeah.
eyesight.
Yeah.
Because Eppley, I was talking to him. I was going to do custom cheek implants and a custom wraparound jaw. Like he's known for that jaw chin wraparound, which I think is cool because you don't see any other doctors doing it. So I'm like, I want that because it's different. And anyway, I haven't done it yet. But when I went to him, I was like, like, is there anything you can do, like, if your eyes are like slightly off? He was like, well, when we do like that cheek implant, we can go up onto the orbital rim and get that piece to continue underneath the one of the eyes, the lower eye, and kind of pick it up a couple millimeters if you wanted. And hopefully that will give you like a little bit more of the symmetry if you're looking to do that. And I mean, in my brain, I'm like, that sounds great because I always have like my good side and I know the way I want my eyes to be positioned. Like, this is my little bit of my lower eye and this is my higher one. But I just don't know if I had the balls to like have someone go in there like, you know what I'm saying? What happens if you do all this for like for vanity's sake and then I can't see later? I mean, I love the doctor. I totally trust him. But it's just a scary idea to like have someone do. And you had both of them done the same time.
And then I also have under eye implant too.
Yeah.
So they did that too. Yeah, it was wild.
Wow.
Wild. And it was like 25K.
Oh my God, you must have looked so beat up.
Oh my God. No, it's pretty wild. But I mean, I healed really fast. It was like 3 weeks and I was ready to go. And it made probably the biggest difference, I think, out of any facial surgery that I did.
Yeah, I went to Panama to have iris implants put in to change my eye color.
Whoa.
Oh, but it was called New Color Iris. Whoa. And then I don't know, I just like jumped on this bandwagon. I wanted to go. My girlfriend had them and I never knew she had them. So when I found out, like within a week, I was booked to go. And I was supposed to be a spokesperson for them. And I went down there and the person I was talking to on the phone was just like a marketing person. I didn't realize that he wasn't like an official of the doctors. And then when I went down there, I met with the doctor and this other girl who was going to have it from DC. And he told me, the possible complications you can have, which this person on the phone who I thought was an employee, which he then told me was not his employee, didn't tell me anything about that. They didn't say I was going to be tied to like eye drops for like the rest of my life or as long as I kept those implants in my eyeballs, right? And I don't know, I had really bad vision as a kid, so I just had it corrected and I didn't want to be tied to the ophthalmologist anymore. And that was like the deal breaker for me. And I was in Panama with my mom and my friend and I was just like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait. I mean, I felt like crushed inside and then we told everybody because I'm so excited and then to come home and have nothing, but we just stayed there and acted like tourists for a week. But I just like, it just felt wrong in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, that they didn't disclose those things to me. And the doctor's like, you're not going to do it. And he was all like scrubbed up. And I'm like, no, I'm going to wait. Like, I don't feel right about this inside. And I was just like, so I need to wait. Like, maybe I'll change my mind tomorrow. But like, I'm here for now. But like, I don't feel safe with it right now because that's like totally new information I haven't had time to mull over.
Wow.
You know? So people always say like, they just think I jump and do everything that there is. But there are certain things like that for sure. You have to be like super careful. I mean, the last thing I want to do is give myself a secondary form of glaucoma, which is what he told me was possible by putting an implant into your eyeball.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it.
Yeah,
but I wanted like pimento green. It would have been so pretty.
Yeah, no, they were like, oh, you could potentially have double vision for like the rest of your life. And I was like,
whoa.
Don't care.
You're like, I don't care. Bring it on.
Hey, girl. Yeah, it was wild. And this is where Anthony goes, well, I've had. How many surgeries have you had, sir?
Just as Botox.
Yeah.
No, he's actually had thousands.
Yeah,
He's hiding it from us.
I'm a trans girl.
Oh my God.
So if someone was to come to you and ask you what, some advice for their first surgery, what would you tell them?
Well, I mean, like I've gone over with you before, right? It's just have realistic expectations,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
Because
Got it. Life is all about expectations.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
also, when I had my first nose job, I just always thought like, oh, like this is gonna be life changing. Everyone's gonna see me different.
Oh my
like I
God,
just thought the whole world was gonna change.
Yes.
And then I had it, and the healing process is slow and all that. And then you're like, nobody notices.
Yeah.
Nobody noticed after my first. I noticed some, but it was just like managing those expectations and then not being super upset. And if you want to go back and revisit it, you can. But like also like, just treat a surgery like a surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, I feel like they just abuse themselves too fast. They're like not resting. They're not recovering the way the doctors tell them to, right?
Right.
And they think because it's elective that it's really not putting yourself, basically you're paying to put yourself through like a car crash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's intense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to give your body, you could have the best hands working on you. And if you don't like mind your recovery, I think you can screw it all up.
For sure.
And you don't want to do that, right? You spend all that money just to like rush through. You have a tummy tuck, and I see friends that are like standing straight up. I'm going back to work in 3 days, and I'm like, you can't. Like you just had a tummy tuck or a circumferential body lift, and like they're
Doing
just
coke
not heeding the warning.
Nose. Let's break this nose in.
No, you can't do that. I mean, so that would be first and foremost. But otherwise, research.
Yeah.
Like not just the procedure, but your doctor.
I also think, people they are their own worst critics. So oftentimes people don't notice those things. You know what I mean? Like with the nose thing, I had no idea it was such a big thing, to be honest with you, because I never look at my nose and thought like, oh my God, I don't even see it. You know what I mean? But it wasn't until one of my friends, he was 21 years old, and he's like, I had my nose done. And I was like, bro, your nose is fine. But at the end of the day, and he did end up getting botched. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, I got infected, and there was like, the guy said there was a pimple, but the doctor actually accidentally nicked the top of his nose with like the sear gun or whatever. But completely lied about it. He's like, no, you had a pimple. And I was like, this is not a pimple. He had
the skin?
Literally
right here. It's like nicked the whole top of his nose. And it's like, oh,
it's turning
like,
black, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. And I was like, oh, I felt so bad.
Yeah, you see people who don't, like, sometimes you can get necrosis, right? On your nose. I think Jessica dealt with some of that for sure. She was really public about it. And then her doctor had used that radiated rib, the cadaver rib for her tip graft, and her whole nose got infected. And it was just like a disaster for her.
It was a new rib or her old rib?
It was cadaver. It was cadaver rib.
Oh.
A lot of the doctors use that now because then they charge a lot for it too. But they basically said this way you don't have to have the scar as the patient. So it's supposedly like radiated cadaver cartilage.
Wow.
So they use it a lot here nowadays to rebuild noses and put like stents in. If you don't have enough like crushed graft cartilage to use, especially people who've been worked on so much, a lot of times they lack the support in the tip that you need to get like a point, get some protection.
Yes.
So they use that a lot, but she didn't fare well with it for whatever reason. I don't know. But disaster.
Wow. Yeah, I had a Persian beak, so they had a lot to work with. They had a lot to work with, honey. But yeah, typically for a lot of Asian, I know that they have to usually go in and add for the Barbie profile.
Yeah, they took mine down to the first 2 times, and then basically by the time we hit the third, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna use like cartilage graft," but he took it from inside the nose, and they tried to sew little pieces together, and the tip was great in the beginning, and then went over like the course of 3-4 months, it went and just dissipated down, and it just looked like I had a beak. There was no more tip, really. The point was gone. So then I went back to him. He was like a nose specialist, so he did good. But then they took like a big piece out of my ear, like a whole wedge, and they used the ear cartilage for my nose instead of using the rib.
Wow.
So yeah, and then it wasn't exactly on straight. It was a little twisted, and it needed to be moved forward. So then I had another one. They just moved that same piece out. But he was like, "You're really gonna make me redo all this to move it like another like a few millimeters forward?" I'm like, "Yes, I want the ski slope.
Damn.
I want the little lift at the end."
Yeah.
So moving away from surgery, tell us your best joke.
Oh my god. I don't have any jokes.
I just can't relate to the surgery conversation, so I'm just like finger banging your implants.
We're just talking shop over here.
No, I love that. But I want to talk. I was like, what time are we at, bitch? I want to talk too.
So cars.
Help me, I'm poor.
Oh god.
So real estate. What's the most expensive house you've sold?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't. Well, I'm new to as being a salesperson in the real estate world. But I bought and sold. Now I've had one. I have 2 houses here right now in Los Angeles, and then I had a condo before and 2 other homes in different states, but they're gone now. But yeah, I've bought and sold a decent number of houses.
This episode is brought to you by water.
Are you a thirsty little minion? Quench your thirst with water. So how do you deal with hate? Or what do you recommend to people? Or so
How do you deal with hate?
Yeah.
I like I said, I try not to read a lot of the comments. I have a feeling that probably like more than 50% of the people that follow me are actually people that are like not true like positive fans.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There are more people looking to like gawk and just
I think
gasp.
the same thing for our podcast too. You know what I mean? A lot of our
Yeah.
followers, they're not there to be encouraging. They're there
kind
to,
of a
like,
weird
rage.
feeling.
It's like a rage baiting.
At me.
Just like,
Not him. It's all towards
Yeah,
me.
it's like that's a man.
Yeah,
Oh my God. The amount of comments that that's a dude, and I'll just
Yeah.
like I'll comment back and be like, yeah, bro. Like,
Yeah.
But
you know
so
what I
when you
mean?
go like pitch for TV shows, like the first thing they do after they shake your hand and introduce themselves, they're like, okay, so what are your numbers? And it's like you need to tell them, your social numbers, how many people you have following you, whatever, because they think it's like a built-in audience. I don't want to tell them, like, I don't think half these people like me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that they're true supporters.
Yeah.
But they watch to hate.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess, it gives other people like a means to leave their own reality so they can to ridicule somebody else. I just don't know why. Listen, if there's something I don't like or a person that's doing something, I'm kind of like, oh, I just kind of scroll on.
Yeah. No, it's a trip that a lot
I don't
of it.
get why people need to like comment with such intense like hatred.
Well, they're probably like hate jerking to you. They're probably like,
Oh
fuck
my.
you.
as they pay for the OnlyFans subscription.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
I always say your biggest haters, honey, are, sometimes they be jerking to you, or in my term, rubbing that nub.
So flicking the bean. You now going back to your phallus. Sorry, only because I know that in the world of men, the biggest insecurity is probably gonna be penis size. So even when I was younger, you go in the locker room and you see guys that are bigger than you, and I tried the different, because back in those days there wasn't like as an advanced like water pumps, you know what I mean? There was like
pumps.
techniques, it was like jelking and like these other, like things of just like, oh yeah, I want to make it bigger. I want to make it. After a while, just like, oh, this shit hurts. I'm done. But would you recommend that doing this at all? Is it something that you think has like sexually given you a better experience? Like,
It's more I do it for me than for somebody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
said, I think it's just where I am size-wise now. It's made it a little more difficult for me to actually be as satisfied as easily as I used to
I
be.
honestly say there is such thing as too big. You know what I mean?
But with somebody else, like it depends on the person, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
To be your partner that way. So the inherent answer is that like, if it's that big of a deal for you,
then do it.
then do it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of guys say they want big, but I mean, you don't have to go to the extreme I did. You
Yeah.
can do something more subtle.
Yeah.
But I mean, I
Interesting.
wouldn't take it back.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy
And
with it.
and you bring up a great point of like you are doing it for yourself.
I
Because
mean, I literally get off partially
Yeah.
on the bigism
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I better because
Well, it's
the
like
thing is,
girls
most
and
boys aren't
boobs.
getting me off.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit in their
Yeah.
mouth anymore.
yeah, no, for sure.
So I better
pretty-
get myself off.
Pretty soon you'll all be able to try it in your mouth. Dude.
Ew. I will.
Right?
No, for sure. But that's I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I haven't gotten surgery because of a heartbreak or a man or someone telling me something like, oh, you need to fix this, fix that, and then I did to impress the guy, and then he ended up not even liking me anyways after that. But getting to that place of like, remember, you're doing the surgery for yourself. And if there's someone out there that wants you to have bigger boobs or this or that, don't do it, because they'll most likely leave you when it's done.
Unfortunately, most relationships don't seem to last the test of time. Unfortunately.
Exactly.
Like, I'm a big believer in commitment.
Okay.
I'm not always the greatest in monogamy, but I am a big, like, if I say I'm committed to somebody, like, I'm there to stick it out with somebody and like to build a life, and I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I want to be a part of their family. Like, I would like that.
Same.
And I think I'm good at being committed.
For sure.
But people always fight me on that. Like, well, what's committed versus monogamous versus not monogamous? Like, I'm like, okay. I mean, but we run across
You
that
want to
all
argue
the time
semantics,
in gay life.
Oh my God, but yeah,
I'm like, you can be committed and not monogamous.
Yeah.
I can't do monogamy.
Yeah, no, you can't either.
Can't do it.
I mean, I don't have to have a whole nother relationship, but like every once in a while, it's nice to be validated by something new.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't mean I would like.
Well, I actually,
but not as a relationship, just like as a little like, stop by.
well, it's funny because I even at the beginning of us doing this, I read this study where it's like humans weren't really built to be monogamous because of, you could tell by the shape of the penis. It's like, it actually is like a plunger that it sucks out another man's semen so that it can actually shoot yours in farther. Like, there's this whole thing, though, the way it's shaped is just like, it's just weird. So yeah, it's a trip. But do some research on it. The way it is, like, it's built like a little plunger, and
I think it's kind of like a
whatever
religion thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It may be more of a female perspective of things, because most men are probably not that great at monogamy.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I feel like gay men, they have it figured out too. A majority of gay men, because it's like open relationships, I feel like are typically better amongst, partners and stuff. Like, but unfortunately in my world, because I am attracted to date straight men, a lot of times straight men are like, I can do whatever I want, but you can't do shit. Like, I own you. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty wild. Yeah. So I'm like, damn, I would be, maybe, who knows? Like, maybe I would be down to being like, okay, you want to talk to other girls? I'll talk to other guys. But they have been like, I will kill you.
Build it over that real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
The machismoism will kick in.
Yes.
you should insert a baby belly in you to see what it's like to be pregnant.
God. Well, there was that girl who wanted an implant on her.
Why don't you try
head?
saline first? People pump saline into their penis and their scrotums just like for temporary bigism.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's like a whole like body mod subgroup that does that.
That's
I actually
cool.
just got onto like some new chat forum.
Wow.
And most of the guys there are doing just like with saline infusion.
Wow.
So it's not permanent.
I'm gonna
You have
make a
some hair on you.
promise.
I love that.
I do have some hair on me. Yeah, I didn't ever like get rid of my hair under my arms.
Wow.
Either.
I'm gonna make a promise. When we get our first brand deal, like big brand deal, I will get my penis injected, and we will vlog it, and it will go somewhere.
Wow.
I'll do it.
Hurry up with that one.
I will do it, and you'll hold me to it, and we'll go together, and it'll be a whole moment.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Okay, that's fierce.
Yeah, I'm ready.
This has been a very entertaining episode. I've learned so much. I feel like I'm like, dang, my brain hurts.
I
You're
love
ready
it.
to sign?
Yeah, let's do it. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Yes, Sunday.
Get you some biceps?
Yeah.
Just like pop one of these in here.
I love it.
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa,
Shit.
yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, I didn't bring you a pack.
Wow,
cute.
they're almost as strong as mine.
I love that.
Implant too.
Forearms. I thought forearms could be cool to do.
Whoa.
Wouldn't that be neat?
Whoa.
Just make the incision along the arm here and pop in a forearm.
Whoa.
I haven't
And then
done it yet.
how would you do it for like the veins? Because veiny arms are hot.
Well, you'd have to talk to the
would
doctor
go
to see if they were
under?
willing to go in under them.
Whoa.
Yeah, because you're right. It would look funny if it was just sub Q.
like- yeah,
But if
yeah.
you went like under the fascia, I would think under the fascia and the meat of the
Wow.
and the meat of the muscle.
I want someone to go
This is
under
my
my
cup.
fascia.
Oh, Lord.
I love it. Wow, I love it. Wait, are these? So I know textured implants. There's like that company that's being sued because of like cancer.
Oh,
or
you're talking
something,
about
so-
there's a texture sample in that bag, but that's different. This is like still
The
all
new-
rigid.
Oh,
so
okay, okay.
I order them with the texture on them, and you can do it like heavy or fine because I think it gives a little more grip so that hopefully it doesn't flip. But sometimes they even add like inserts underneath them. Like these, you see how there's like inserts. So every time you add like an insert like that, it'll help hold that implant in position. They do them a lot with like butt implants. They'll have where there's like an inset to help it. But the texturization on the ones you're talking about was almost felt like felt.
Yeah.
And so people were saying they thought they were getting sick from that kind of felty. It was getting absorbed in the body.
Yeah.
My mom has the texture implants. And she still has them today.
I had them, and then I
but
had
she's always
mine
been
switched
fine with
out.
them.
Oh,
So she was like, should I change them? I was like, well, I don't think you have to. Like, you
Yeah.
seem like you're fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, in fact, I feel like opening that up might
Yeah.
cause you, you might end up with more problems trying to like just change out the implant. They
Right.
have a lifetime warranty on
Right.
them.
Because there's this huge thing on breast implant
He's like,
illness
la la la
now.
la la.
No, I'm just like, this is just so crazy.
I love it.
I had on the back of some of these, I was doing like the Marley mesh. That's what these little tabs are supposed to be. This is like Marley mesh. So your body would like grow into it and hold it to like embed into it. So yeah, lots of cool little things you can add for different reasons.
Love that.
I love it.
I was thinking we could put like Kevlar in them next, and I could market them more
wow.
to men
Bulletproof?
as body armor.
That'd be
is
Wouldn't that be
fucking
so cool?
amazing.
That is
With
actually
we
so
could do
cool.
your pecs, we could do we could do
Whoa.
abdominal implants, we could do your biceps, we could do your glutes, and I'll put Kevlar, have them put Kevlar inside
Wow,
it.
Oh
that's
my
actually
God. I
Right?
want a
That would be a
bulletproof tip.
a good sales like ploy with men. Like it's not for cosmetic use. It's just for for you and your security.
Damn. It's like iRobot type shit.
Totally.
I love that shit.
Damn.
I think it'd be great.
Damn. I've
You
always
watch,
wanted to
someone's
be a
gonna come out with
cheerleader.
it if I don't eventually. Someone
Wow,
will do
that's
it.
so smart.
Yeah.
Imagine like boobs being bulletproof. Whoa, that would be crazy. I'd have to get that.
For real Wonder Woman.
Things I could do.
Literally.
Yeah, no, for real.
Like the fembots from Austin Powers.
Oh yeah, with the little guns.
Love.
You can't resist us, Mr. Powers.
It may be the way of the future.
Right.
Wow, I love that.
So, do you have any questions for us, darling?
Yeah.
Any questions for you guys? Well, I don't know.
Right. It's like, oh, this is my show. You're supposed to ask me questions. I almost feel bad asking just a lot of questions about surgery because I feel like you've gone through them. So I like to do something like shake it up with some different shit. But
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
fine.
if you're
Yeah.
comfortable
That's what
with
I was
that,
expecting.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
no, for sure, no.
Yeah.
But
But also a lot of times before you, like you said before we started filming, is that they're used to get anxiety before going on certain shows because they would bring out like, oh, a surprise doctor that would
Sure.
come out and be like,
Or they'd say we have a doctor coming on. It's happened to me multiple times. Now I know to ask. And I would always just assume it was a plastic surgeon. And then I would get like guerrilla warfare bombarded with like therapists and psychologists. And the audience thinks that you are actually like, you've been seen by that person. That's the only reason that you would think that person would be on stage, right? And they're commenting about, well, you obviously have body dysmorphia.
That's
So that-
wild.
and it's like, you don't know me, bitch. Like, it's so
Yeah.
interesting. But the way it all looks and the way it's queued up, it's all sort of pitted against you. To show that extreme controversy,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
but that's what they have to do in a very short time frame. And then there's people on the side, like, with like boo signs, and they're telling the audience, "Oh, boo!" Like after Justin talks, they go boo, or they gasp, and they have signs. Oh, it's all set up. They have like the live audience, and they're like boo, ah, and I'm like, oh, please. And I literally see the people that are off camera with the signs, like they're telling the audience what to do. But like, you can't say that on the show; they'll just edit it out, right?
Wow.
But
100%.
it's so set up. You know,
Wow.
it's as pre-contrived as it can be.
no, the questions we want to ask are like, can you still come?
That would be a yes.
but to your,
Well, 'cause I don't know
Thank
if you
God.
put so much stuff that I didn't know. Maybe if it like kind of closes down your urethra a little bit. or
No,
something
that
like
filler's
but-
all like that. You should be like sub-Q, right? Because it's just
Yeah.
tissue and vascularity in your
Okay.
penis, not really muscle.
Cool.
So you have like the cavernous.
So we can still see your cum
channels.
shots on your OF
yeah.
for the high rollers only. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I would be upset if you did all that work and then you couldn't actually nut.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Counterproductive. I think.
no, for sure. Well, I feel like it's a trans girl though. A lot of them they do all that work and then they can't get hard. You know what I mean?
That's
So it's like at that point, it's like cut it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
well. Don't they say
That's
like
wild.
that the length of the length of the penis then sort of
Is the
indicative
depth.
to how deep that the vagina can be made?
Yes.
I've heard
That's
that
what I've
too.
always
That's
read.
wild.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Cheyenne's a size queen, so that wouldn't work too well.
I've tried to look up and I have not found a lot of like great like videos, pictures about this, but like on the female to male surgery side, like they take the grafts from the forearm, or on occasion I've seen them take from the leg.
And it looks horrible.
I want to see more. You know, I've tried to look a little bit, but I haven't really I don't have the depth of knowledge that I'd like to on that. I'd like to learn more about that.
Same. Because then I always wonder, like, if you have a hairy forearm, does that mean you're gonna have a hairy penis?
I think they get rid of the follicles. No, don't they like scrape the follicles out or something? I know they do that when they do the.
I would just think you'd have to do laser on it after. But then they have to build the gland.
Yeah.
And like I was Googling, I was like, but what is the longest phallus that's been made on a female to male?
He was Googling it because to ask you.
I was like, I've been trying to find that out. Like, there's some that say, oh, there was one that was made that was like 11 inches.
That would be
and
your
the
entire
girl went back
forearm.
for a reduction, and I was like, I don't know if this is real, and I couldn't find any pictures or doctors' names affiliated with it.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. I think it'd be great to have like a forearm tattoo and then take it off and rub it around your
That's really wild.
It's a true sleeve.
Think about that. Wow.
That'd be so funny.
Well, I actually have a PhD and a triple D, and I am here to say that I think you're perfect.
Thank you, babe.
Right?
Yeah, so
I
fuck those
appreciate it.
other doctors. They can suck this dick.
Oh, shit.
This soon-to-be injected dick.
Oh,
Damn.
she's getting ready to be enhanced. More enhanced.
I want to go bigger.
Bigger.
Love it. Yay!
All right. Well, with that being said, now is time for your favorite part of the episode. Shayan.
Get surgery.
No, it's game time.
Oh.
Well, we do want to thank you for coming.
Yay.
Thank you,
High five.
babe. Cheers.
And congratulations on everything.
guys.
And we'll go ahead and put down the phallus in the links below
Yes.
and all of however you want to
I
find
already
him.
ordered 30, so.
So,
I'm ready.
all right.
Tell me how I
Game
feel.
time.
It is game time! Yay!
Okay, so we're gonna do like question and answer with the human Ken doll.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna quiz you a little bit on some different points of interest, facts, funny facts with the human body, right?
All right.
Yeah.
And whoever wins $5,000.
Oh, yes. Oh, that'll pay for one boob, Shayan.
You're
All right,
right.
hold that, babe.
I'm just
She's already taking it. All right, so we're gonna say, how long is the small intestine?
I mean, I know it's pretty long. I thought it was like a mile, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, no, a yard. It's a yard.
A yard.
Yeah,
That's a
right?
big difference. Okay. How long is it?
Both wrong. 20 feet.
Oh,
On
shit.
average. On average.
I was closer.
Damn.
You were closer. So you get that point.
No, she gets it. 20 feet is closer to 6. A mile is like 1,000 feet.
We're one step closer,
right.
ladies.
Okay.
All right. We have how many bones in total are in the human body?
I thought it was like 246, but I could be wrong.
Final answer.
Final answer, 246.
256.
Oh, what?
The answer is 206 bones.
Oh, I was closer.
You were closer.
Oh.
All right.
Okay. What is the longest bone in your body?
The longest bone.
In my body or
Oh.
other people's, or other people's body?
I would say whatever this one is. What is that? This is the tibia, right? What is it? Tibia? Tibia.
Mine's my brow bone. No, I'm just kidding. No, the spine.
That's not one.
Oh, that's
like
lots of little bones.
That's a lot.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Not mine though. You haven't seen mine.
It's
just
all
like,
one
what?
interlock piece. Great posture.
Yeah, amazing, the best. I said into bed.
What is it?
Okay. So we have the femur.
What's that? Is that this one?
Or it said the thigh bone, depending. So I guess it could be either of those.
Oh, we both
Yeah.
got it
We're
wrong.
close. Yeah,
Okay.
we're close.
What's the largest item that anyone has pulled out of their anus?
A horse penis.
Your cock.
Oh shit!
Google said a baseball, but I think they lied.
I think so
was
too.
Woo! I got that. Period.
Winner. Okay, how many teeth are in the human mouth?
32, I think. 30 something.
36.
32.
32, yes. I went to the dentist yesterday, so.
What if you didn't get your wisdom teeth pulled out?
Oh.
Yeah, with the wisdom teeth.
Right, I guess if you hadn't taken it out or
yeah,
not.
yeah, right?
I think
so then
everyone's
that's 4
32.
extra.
I win.
Normally, you win. And last question is, can you lick your elbow?
Oh. It says humanly impossible, but I get really close. I have a long tongue, so.
Oh, you're pretty close.
Now I really want to. Do you know a doctor?
It says that that's
could...
actually impossible.
Oh.
Damn.
I'm sure we know a doctor that could fix that.
I'm just gonna have the elbow move this way.
Yeah.
I think you won the
He doesn't need
can
more
go
money.
It's okay.
His first plastic surgery. Now.
What?
Yeah,
Yes. Now I can go by Justin Jedlica's phallus.
Yeah.
Jedlica. I keep fucking up your back.
You just like saying phallus.
I do. I love that.
He's saying it the French way. He's fancy.
Jedlica.
Falus.
Yay!
Yay! Congratulations.
Oh, and this is our season finale.
This is.
Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna
last
miss you
episode.
guys.
So we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we miss
Season
you guys.
2.
Happy
Bye.
holidays. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Love
and
that.
love you. Love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. That's all,
all,
folks. If you want to watch more fucked up shit,
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
woo!